What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Spurs suffered another humiliating loss, this time to Arsenal. And the humiliating loss don't stop at the Emirates, I'll tell you that. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 1. I had to draw the short straw and ended up being at the Emirates yesterday, which was...
Speechless.
Jesus, like literally, I'm finding it hard to put my feelings into words right now, because seriously, that was... I've seen some shit shows at the Emirates in my time. Like, I've seen some big shit shows there. I've seen some shit shows in general, but nothing like what I saw yesterday. I think the yesterday was the worst I've seen us there. And that's saying something.
Even in bad games, we usually have one period during the game where we're looking like we're going to go for it or create something or put them under pressure. But literally, we were camped inside our own box for the whole 90 minutes. It was just embarrassing.
It was... Embarrassing is the right word to put it. It was pathetic. It was really pathetic to go into a North London derby when you're supposed to give blood, sweat and tears. I thought the only player that kind of half got what it meant to play in that game was João Palhinha. He was the only one trying to put in some challenges. There was not one player on that pitch that was like, you know what, I'm going to take a bit of initiative here. I'm going to kind of try get this team up the pitch. I'm the one that's going to put in a full-blooded challenge and say what it means to play for Tottenham in the North London derby. Like, we cannot keep going into games like this, like Chelsea and Arsenal, two of our biggest games of the season against two of our biggest rivals, and put in such insipid, gutless displays like that. And yes, it comes down from the manager 100%, and I've been biggest believer in Thomas Frank and the biggest backer of Thomas Frank. But as these performances keep going on, nothing's getting better, it keeps getting worse. And I thought the tactics yesterday, I was one calling for 3 at the back and 5 at the back yesterday. But I think the way he did it was completely all wrong. I think you needed to pack out that midfield. If you're going to play 3 at the back, it needs to be 3-5-2, as I said before the game. Like, we just gave them the whole midfield. Like, literally, we had João Palhinha and Rodrigo Bentancur. Bentancur may as well not been on the pitch yesterday. João Palhinha was trying to do everything on his own. And I felt like we just gave them free roam of our midfield. We have 3 at the back. We have 2 in midfield. We have
5 at the back, I would say.
Well, fine, 5 at the back. We had 2 defensive midfielders on, and we looked open as hell. Like, I don't understand how you can have so many defensive players on the pitch and look as open as we did, as well as not have any attacking threat. So actually, what were we actually doing on the pitch yesterday? I don't understand what the plan was by any stretch of the imagination. I've never seen such a gutless display in all my life. Like that Chelsea game, I didn't think it could get worse than that. I really didn't think it could get worse than that, and it got worse than that at the Emirates yesterday. It's just like, what are we trying to do here? Seriously.
It was like a League 2 side going away to a big team in the FA Cup.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. And I've seen League 2 sides give more of a go against the bigger boys than we did yesterday. We had no ambition to go and attack. Like, literally nothing. Our only plan going forward was give the ball to Kudus. Let's see if he can run around their whole team and make a bit of magic. Or...
let's see if he can be Messi for a game.
You know what I mean? Or give it to a doggy and let's see if he can run around their whole team and do a bit of magic. That was our only plan. Like, what sort of plan is that? I just don't understand it.
Horrendous. In terms of, just quickly, we haven't seen you obviously since yesterday. You were at the ground. What was the feeling inside the stadium before the game, during the game? Like, how was it like being in the stadium with in the away fans? Like, what was the vibe? Obviously, I'm sure it was bad, but like, is there anything you saw in the game which maybe TV cameras might not have picked up or anything like that? Or
I would say
in the crowd?
I would say before the game, Spurs fans were very high-spirited, very loud, marching into the Emirates like it was our own patch. And I think the main kind of takeaway of what everyone was saying, I don't think we got a hope in hell, but let's just go give it our all and sing loud and proud for the lads, and maybe something can happen off the back of it. I think that was the kind of general feeling. I don't think anyone, maybe apart from Brian, and you know, I was kind of deluding myself before the game, thinking, you know what, we could, as one beer went, as another beer went, I was like, come on, we can do this today. But in reality, not one bit of me thought, you know, we could have got the job done, and I think that was the feeling with the majority of Spurs fans going into it, and that's sad, and that is really sad. You know, you're going into a game, especially against Arsenal in the North London derby, not with a hope in hell, thinking that you can get a result.
And that is sad in terms of like the fans though with their reactions towards like the players and Frank? Was it like turning toxic? Was it not? Like,
to be honest, I didn't stick around to see that happen at the end of the game. I needed to get out of there quickly because I was absolutely raging, and I left with about 10 minutes to go. A lot of angry people around Frank.
It was very empty. We could see.
Yeah, the away end was empty. People were. I mean, when I was walking back to the car after the game, the streets were just full of Spurs.
Last time it was that empty away at the Emirates, we got a 4-4 draw.
I know, but that was no chance of that happening this time. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fans massively questioning Thomas Frank now. I think that's the truth of it. You can't keep putting in these displays and not question. And you know, even someone like me who's been a massive backer of Frank, I'm questioning it. I'm questioning everything right now.
We'll get into Frank. We'll get into a whole conversation about him. But in terms of like the game yesterday, in the North London derby, like Frank said before the game, he said, "We're not going to go there to just to not lose. We're going to go there and try to win." He said after the game, he said the game plan, the intention going into this game was the complete opposite of what we saw.
He seems to say that every game now.
Performance, and then he said that after Chelsea, just a bad performance. He said that a few games, and it is so concerning seeing the lack of intensity. And it was there for all to see because I think there are two. I highlighted this a few times, but look at the first goal. Timber has 4 Tottenham players around him. He has 2 behind him and 2 ahead of him. And not one player goes in for a challenge. Not one player gets near him and is aggressive and makes it difficult for him and makes it tough for him to make a decision, force him backwards, whatever. We're just sitting there, watching him turn, play it to Marino. He then opens up for Trossard. Arsenal, on the other hand, when they got 3 players around our players, they're pressing intensely. They're making it impossible for us to play. They're being so aggressive. They're getting stuck in. And it's just mind-boggling how our players approach the game after an international break. You know, there shouldn't really be any excuse of like fatigue or anything like that, how we approach that game. It's like we approached it like giving up before the game even started. How could you have such a lack of intensity in a North London, in any game, but especially in North London derby? That wouldn't be acceptable against Norwich at home, let alone Arsenal. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous how we approach that game with such a lack of fight and courage. It's embarrassing, and I have to say, like, what is the message going into this game? Because he's saying before when the message isn't that we're going to go there and win. The message isn't we're going there not to lose. But we saw anything but. At times, it was a back 7. At times, you saw Paulinho and Bentancur go into the back line, and it was a back 7. It was like there was just no way out. And as soon as we got the ball, right, we had no player in front of us. The plan, it seemed to be, let's lump it to Richarlison, who had 3 Arsenal defenders around him at any one point. On the one time, maybe out of like the 10, he would hold it up. He had no player to hold it up to. And he would hold it up and then he would like maybe win a throw. And that's like the best we did. Yeah. Like the kind of attempt was, the plan was, it was embarrassing. Kudus and Odegaard, I think, Richarlison and Odegaard didn't have a touch of the ball until the 25th minute. They didn't have a touch of the ball. Like, how can you expect Tottenham to even get near Arsenal's box or attack when we can't even touch the ball, let alone, have a shot? We can't touch the ball. The plan seemed to be get a free kick on the halfway line and get Vicario to lump it in their box. Yeah. That is like, even Stoke had a better plan than that. Yeah. Like we had absolutely no plan, and I get it. It is Arsenal, so in terms of, forget the derby, I'm saying quality of team. I do understand they are one of the best teams in the league, probably one of the best teams in Europe right now, you've got to say. And I'm not saying, like, fair is fair. It's not like Tottenham are the only team who have struggled to have a shot on target this season against Arsenal. They do have had a long stretch of games, right? They didn't even concede a shot on target, let alone a goal. So I'm not saying it's easy to go to Arsenal and play well and attack and create chances. The problem is this isn't a one-off. The problem is this has been a theme the whole season. Not forget Arsenal, there's a lot of teams we've really struggled to create chances. At a moment where, for chances created, we're 19th for the league. That is That is unacceptable. That is a shocking stat. So when you have that all-round picture, and then you put that into the North London derby, like, it is so concerning. And I was ready yesterday. Like, you've watched along. I don't really care if we're in a low block and we're defending and whatever. Like, against Arsenal away, if we could shithouse a point, I wouldn't really have cared, to be honest, if we got a result. But the problem is when you have that kind of performance off the back of how we've been playing on the ball this season, big question marks are asked overall about what is happening at this football club right now. And the players seem to be lacking a lot of belief. Players seem to be lacking belief about what the plan is at the moment.
Completely agree.
That is a big problem.
Yeah, completely agree. Like, I don't understand how professionals can go into a game of this magnitude with all the kind of media that the team are putting out, everything surrounding the game. Everyone knows this is a big game. Even, Javi Simmons was involved in some sort of media thing to hype up the North London derby. Everyone knows how big this game is. I just don't understand the clear lack of fight throughout the whole team. I just don't get it. Like, even if the tactics are all wrong, you would expect to see a bit more fight than what you saw.
Well, that's the thing. Against PSG, we played a similar. I know it was a 3-5-2, but we saw a similar formation, and it was night and day performance from what we saw. Even the Man City, it was different formation, but yes, it was similar. Like, the plan wasn't to dominate possession. The plan was sit back and counter. But we were so much more aggressive in those games. If you look back at those games, we were pressing a lot higher. We were getting stuck in a lot more. Yes, we did, especially in the PSG game, we were relying a lot more on set pieces. But we seemed to have a plan on the ball. We were a lot more, seemed like direct in our attacks. We looked to get players forward on occasion. And I think going into this game, when I saw the lineup, I was because I thought, actually, I looked at the lineup, and I know we predicted a back three. I was like, okay, we're playing Kudus and Odegaard and Rishi and Doggy and Spencer. I was like, this is actually potentially could be a more offensive team than I even expected. But the way he played it, it was like he told Spencer and Doggy don't cross the halfway line. Yeah. It's like, then it's not a wing backs, it's literally 2 fullbacks and 3 centre backs and then 2 defensive midfielders. While also Odegaard and Kudus looks like they've been asked to track the Arsenal fullbacks. So all of a sudden they're also penned back, and so you're leaving Richarlison up front. So it was. You can play a back five, but why aren't the players being super aggressive in that back five? Why aren't they crossing the halfway line? Why aren't they being brave? They're risk averse. Is just because a back five doesn't mean it has to be defensive. You know what I mean?
100%, and that's what I was saying, because a lot of people that I was speaking to did have a few problems with the lineup when they saw us go 5 at the back. They're saying, "Oh, we're coming here for a draw. We're not, going to be taking it to them," and they thought it lacked a bit of ambition going back 5. But I was saying, no, look, you don't have. It's not going to be, just because it's a back 5 doesn't mean it has to be defensive. We've got offensive players on there. We can get Porro and Udogie high up the pitch. We can be aggressive and win the ball back in the middle of the park. But we played like we were holding on for a 0-0 draw or a 1-0 win for 90 minutes. That's what it felt like. It was like stoppage time. From the first 10 minutes, it felt like it was stoppage time going into the end of the game. We were trying to hold on to something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is no way to play football. Like, I don't understand, like, if he's seeing these performances over the past couple of weeks and a few others sprinkled in there and think that, we're going in the right direction. And I gave a pass to a lot of them. I gave a pass to the Bournemouth game. I gave a pass to the Boda game. I gave a pass to the Monaco game. I've given a pass to so many of these tragic displays that we've put in this season. And in a lot of those games, we haven't got what's really we should have got and what had been coming to us. We could have got battered in a lot of those games. Well, it happened here in the worst place for it to happen. We finally got what was coming. And it could have been more. It could have been more.
He's got the humiliation of pre-press conference. He goes, "Oh, who's Eze?"
Oh, and
he scored a hat-trick.
Yeah. Everyone knew Eze. Literally every single person I spoke to before the game said Eze was going to score.
Obviously going to score. But he scored a hat-trick.
Yeah.
First Arsenal player to score a hat-trick in the derby in God knows how long. When was the last time
I think since the 70s.
Embarrassing. And he's out there on the pitch giggling, laughing, taking a piss out of us.
Mm-hmm.
And no one is taking charge of, like, okay, we can't let them take the piss out of us. Turn it into the Battle of the Bridge. Have some guts about you.
Yeah.
Have some heart about you. Don't allow yourselves to get humiliated. Eze is out there taking the piss out of you, giggling on the pitch. He's looking at the camera and laughing, and you're just accepting it.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
There was just not one bit of that performance, Not one bit of anything from Frank's tactics to the performance to the player application on the pitch where you can sit there and say, you know what, it's a bad defeat at the Emirates, which we've had, but you know we can move on from this, dust ourselves off, and make it and turn it right the next game, because we've won 2 games now since the beginning of October. I think Leeds away and Everton away. Those are the only 2 games. Where every other game has been pretty much a shambles of performance. Let's be honest.
You can't exactly say those games are great.
Yeah.
We won them, but you didn't go watch. I remember we had a big debate after the Everton game. I was like, yeah, we won, but are we actually playing that well? And whatever. Don't want to go into that right now, but it's a big problem for us at the moment in terms of just the way we're playing. Like, there doesn't seem to be much improvement at all.
It's just, yeah, look, you're not wrong, but the reality is with the game yesterday, Arsenal completely wiped the floor with us, and they weren't even near their best.
No,
I don't even think they were close to their best.
Didn't
like,
get out of first gear.
literally did not get out of first gear. They were like at walking pace for the majority of the game, and they completely destroyed us. Like, literally, we couldn't touch them, and they had so many gears to go up, like so many, and that's the worrying thing about it, because I think it was similar against Chelsea, to be honest, because I think Chelsea had so many gears to go up that day as well, and didn't. We are just rolling over for teams without any sort of plan, without any sort of fight, without any sort of ambition. And I'm struggling to see where we actually go and what we're actually doing.
And you could actually see yesterday in the game, and like, I'm not saying the first half was great, but if we're actually, you know, if you're taking the game as it was, for the first 40 minutes, we actually didn't concede too many chances. Like, Rice obviously had that chance right at the beginning. Saka had like a free kick which Vicario saves. Other than that, it was complete, don't get me wrong, it was completely Arsenal domination, but we were like, you know, defending fairly well, albeit it was very deep and very like pragmatic, but we weren't conceding any chances. But as soon as they got that goal, it was like we were clueless.
Yeah.
It was like it was like, oh, this wasn't in the script. Oh, we didn't plan for this.
Yeah.
It's like we had no, and then all of a sudden, 1 became 2 very quickly, 2 became 3 very, very quickly, and it's like the plan was out the window. It's like we didn't plan for the eventuality that Arsenal might take the lead. It was playing.
You know what? You know, you can say that we defended well for the opening half an hour before they scored, which we were. But I kept saying to Brian in that opening half an hour before we conceded, we're just waiting to die here. Literally, we are just waiting to die. We are camped out in our own half. Any time we can get out of our own half, it's just one ball out to Richarlison, which he ultimately always gives away a foul or something like that, and the ball comes straight back. Like, I was horrified from the first half an hour, and I thought, as soon as one goal goes in, the floodgates could potentially open here, and that's exactly what happened.
And it was very quickly. It didn't even need a lot. Like, as soon as they got that goal, it was like plain sailing for them. And then all of a sudden they found it easy to open us up, and it was just shocking. I think
for me yesterday, if I'm an Arsenal fan looking at that, look, obviously it's going to be unbelievable for an Arsenal fan, but forget an Arsenal fan looking at it. But I'm looking at it this way, where I don't even think Arsenal had to do too much to beat us. I think this was all on us and all the way we played, because if we played a bit better, we could have done something in that game yesterday. If we were a bit more aggressive, maybe we wouldn't have won, but at least we could have shown a bit more fight and had a few opportunities on their goal and actually made it into a North London derby, what a North London derby is supposed to be. But to go down like that is completely unacceptable. It really is completely unacceptable. You cannot lose a North London derby, concede 4 goals and not have any fight in the game. Our only shot on target from the halfway line, essentially. Like, what are we doing here? Seriously.
He did change at half-time. Xavi came on for Danso, and then within a minute, we conceded another goal.
Yeah.
I don't understand what... all 3 goals from Eze were all the same goal. All of them were the same thing. Him picking up the ball, edge of the box, and having time and space to finish.
But I don't understand it.
How is Paulinho and Bentancur not
100%. Why if you got one of their most dangerous men, forget dangerous, any man, any Arsenal man, with so much time and space when you've got so many defensive players and that setup that we've put on? It just doesn't make sense. Like, surely the players have got to have a bit more about them and actually show some energy, close down some men, man. Where's the full-blooded challenges? This is a fucking North London derby.
It's embarrassing. But I thought in the second half when Xavi came on, I can't really say it was better, but we weren't obviously as deep as we were in that first half, which was like,
he was probably our best player.
Yeah, Javi came on, won a few free kicks, which is more than anyone else can
Exactly.
take, and look, to be fair, Richarlison's goal, brilliant goal, out of nothing, but had to take it as well as he did.
It was a great challenge from João Palhinha.
Great challenge from Palhinha, brilliant goal from Rid, like credit to him, great finish, but that's literally all we had. Like a shot from the halfway line was the best we could muster, was the only chance we had. And that is just inexcusable in any game, let alone the North London derby, how you can only have that.
It's really hard to take, man. It's really, because like saying, like most Spurs fans don't expect much in general when you go into the Emirates, but to go down like that, I mean, I'm just like completely lost for words, man. Like seriously, like I never thought it could get that bad. I was shocked, and I shouldn't have been shocked. And you know what, with us Spurs fans, man, we go into every game so excited after getting demoralised the week before every time. It's like, I swear it's like an addiction, I swear.
That's what it is.
I swear, because it's just like we go into every game after humiliation, and then we kind of brush that humiliation off and we're like, all right, let's go again. North London derby, it's our year, it's our day. Same thing. Trust me, Tuesday or Wednesday morning, we'll be like, come on, we can do something at PSG. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then an embarrassment will come, and then we'll come to Fulham and we're like, all right, surely, Fulham at home, you know what, we're going to do the business. And maybe we'll scrape a 1-0 win, playing some tragic football. And then we'll be like, all right, fine, we've got a win, we're going to move on. Who's like Newcastle away? Oh, you know what? We won our last game. You never know. Newcastle not the same team as they were last year. Maybe we'll do something, and then we'll get embarrassed, and then the whole thing cycle starts again. It's just the life of a Spurs fan, man. This club, man.
Anyway, I'm sick of talking this game, but I think we should talk about Frank, because that's been a big topic, especially on social media after this game. A big topic of conversation.
Not just in social media, in the stands as well. A lot of people talking about Thomas Frank.
Or Billy Cairns.
Yeah, you know what? he came up to me and was like, record me now. Literally, just record me now. That's all he said.
Get me on and get me
And then he even messages me when he gets home and was like, you better put that in the video. And I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, and I've seen, Lily Weil-Abkish, he's quite a level-headed fan. He's not usually one to be this one out, that one out. He's like, after yesterday, I'm Frank out.
I got a lot of messages yesterday saying this manager's got to go. A lot of fans in the stadium. Look, it's highly emotional in North London derby. Yeah. So at the end of that game, when you've just had to suffer what you've suffered, I do think there are a lot of emotional reactions going on. For me, obviously, look, I've said it before. Like I'm a big believer in Thomas Frank. I have been a big fan of Thomas Frank. I thought, he should be doing a lot better up till now, 100%. I don't doubt that. The thing that really worries me is that I'm drawing a lot of parallels to the start we had under Nuno. That's the thing that's really worrying me right now. And I thought, I've said to you every week, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's not getting better.
Getting worse.
It's getting worse, exactly. So you can't go into all these big games and, all these not so big games as well and put in performances like we have. The tactical, what he's showing tactically, I mean, I thought Frank was the complete opposite. I thought Frank can tactically mastermind games and swing games in our favour in that aspect, and he's shown anything but that as of now. If you're going to ask me whether I'm Frank in or Frank out, like I'm so far from being Frank out. I want to give him time to see if he can turn it around, and I think he deserves that. And I think any manager that you give from start of a season deserves time to turn it around. But as games wear on and as these games start to come and go, I'm starting to. I don't think you can do anything but question things massively right now, because things are going horrifically. They are so bad right now. Those performances are massive alarm bells. They are massive alarm bells, and he needs to change things, and he needs to change things quick. I think he needs time. 100% he needs time to turn it around, and he should be given that time to turn it around. But the more these results happening, the more the fans are going to start to turn, and it might even turn out to be an untenable situation soon with the fans, because I think the fans are already starting to turn.
Yeah, and the reality is he doesn't like other managers. Let's say when we had Mourinho and Nuno, they had their record to fall back on when things are going wrong. Look what I've won. look what I've achieved in my career. Like, you know, they know, like, they've got a track record of winning big trophies and competing with big things. Frank doesn't have that in his CV. So when things do start to go wrong and he can't seem to kind of scale up his tactics from a Brentford side who obviously used to overachieving on a low wage budget and finishing mid-table, playing like a counter-attacking style. Like, we know that's, you know, Tottenham is a very different kettle of fish. You can't come to Tottenham and play that style of football. So when he comes here and we're playing like we have, not creating a single chance, and we're expecting him to give him time. Give him time for what, though? That I'm not saying I'm Frank out, because I think it's stupid to sack him after 12 games if you make the appointment. Also, what kind of manager are we expecting to replace him with? I don't know really who's available. People say Xavi, or I don't really know who else is available, like on the market, who, you know, do we go for Iraola or something like that? But I think it's only 12 games. You might as well give him a bit of time to just see if we can figure out some of these issues, because it is a big job for him. It's a, you know, he's trying to change a lot of things, but I'm very, very quickly losing patience with what I'm seeing. And the problem is a lot of the fears I had when we appointed him, as much as I like him as a person, I think he's a good manager, and I think he did brilliant at Brentford, and I really like how he conducts himself, and I think he clearly one of the nicest guys in football. Everyone seems to love him. But I had a lot of worries of when he took over the job about how he was, what his tactics were going to be, how he was going to scale up, what he was going to do at Brentford. Does he have the kind of being a top manager of a big club, the kind of mentality for it, managing all these big egos, all these different things? Were his tactics going to be suited for a club like Tottenham Hotspur? And those problems, I think, have been the main issues so far in his tenure at Spurs. And I think right now we seem to be creating less and less chances. We're conceding more and more chances as well. Defensively, we look nowhere near as solid as we did at the beginning of the season. Based on what I was seeing yesterday, is there evidence of, like, the players stop listening to him? Like, is he losing the dressing room? Is that happening? Like, those are the question marks you've got to go through at the moment from what you're seeing on the pitch. If we saw what we saw at the beginning of the season when we played City and we played PSG, the intensity, that is, like, completely vanished from the game, from our game. And that's vanished for a long time now. Like, we haven't seen that high pressing and that aggressive nature in this team for quite a few weeks. As weeks go on, we're looking less and less organised. Are the players sick of just always playing this way? I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. Is it just a case of they're figuring out and they're still working out how to play in his system? But look, like, should it really take 3 months and still be looking like this after 3 months? I'm not saying we should be a well-oiled machine and we should be a really consistent team. But the thing is, right now we're pretty consistently poor. That's the reality. We're not. How many times have we actually seen a good performance on the ball from this team? Copenhagen. That's pretty much the only time. Maybe Brighton away. Like, apart from that, you're clutching at straws to seeing glimpses of what he wants to do, what the plan is. Like, we lost 2-0 at Newcastle and people are praising it, saying, oh, look, we created a few chances. Like, that's what we've come to.
We're starving, man.
That's the problem. And so the longer that goes on, the more untenable it is going to get. And the reality is, he is, whatever you want to say about the size of the job he's got on his hands, the reality is Tottenham is one of the highest revenue clubs in the Premier League and in Europe. We've got more resources than most clubs that he's going to have to manage, right? So when you come with that, you can't be going into games like we were yesterday. We can't be seeing games like for a lot of the season where we can barely create a chance. That is not befitting of a club with the resources that we got. We've got to be looking to go toe-to-toe with these clubs, not be completely outplayed and nullified like we have been in a lot of these games. I'm not saying, I understand he's 3 months in. I'm not saying we have to be an amazing team right now, but we are so far off that. It's worrying how far off that we are right now. We are 19th in the amount of shots we've had in the whole Premier League. We are 19th for the amount of chances created in the whole Premier League. And I understand, in terms of goals scored, we're actually not that bad, but a lot of that is coming from set pieces and, like, counter-attacking moments, transitions. Like, we barely create an opportunity from open play.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what as well, like, I see a lot of fans last night on social media, not so much at the game, but on social media, saying, what do you expect with the team that we've got and with the players that we've got? And don't get me wrong, I've come on here many a time and questioned the quality that we have, particularly in the forward line, and I still question it, and I don't think it's good enough, and I think we can get better. However, it's a lot better than what he's getting out of them right now. Like, how do we have the players that we've got and we muster up a 0.07 and 0.05, whatever it was, XG against Chelsea and Liverpool and Arsenal?
Two of the worst ever in Premier League history.
You know what I mean? Like,
anyone.
We don't have that bad a player. Like, the players that we've got, you know, are decent players. They're nothing great, but they're not like terrible players.
Well, we're talking about some of the, like last season, some of the worst, or whatever, over the last few years, some of the worst teams we've seen in the Premier League are creating more XG against the better teams than we are. That's unacceptable.
Like, did I read rightly that Port Vale created better XG against Arsenal than us?
There have been 3 occasions this season in the Premier League that a team has created less than 0.2. Sorry, there's been 8 occasions this season that a team in the Premier League has created less than 0.2 XG in a game. 3 of those occasions have been Tottenham.
But I don't understand it because, Frank teams that I've seen have always been able to attack well and be a threat on the opposition goal. I've seen nothing of that ilk at Spurs yet. Nothing.
The thing is with Brentford, I think there are a couple of things. First of all, it's different playing against Brentford than it is against Spurs. Against Brentford, teams are always going to go at you. Barely any games are a team go into a game against Brentford. Even the lower teams go into a game against Brentford and go, oh, we're going to sit back and we're not going to give them space. Every team think they can go and beat Brentford. Whether that's right or wrong, they do. So they go at them, right? And that leaves all that space, and Frank is very good at exploiting that. When it comes to Tottenham, it's the other way. 80% of teams probably don't come at you. Now, it was different yesterday. Obviously, Arsenal did come at us, and Chelsea. But it was very different. Obviously, those are better teams. But I think in general, that is obviously when you're Brentford manager, it's a whole different kettle of fish. You have to show an ability to have an in possession model. You have to show an ability to have a plan when you're going to have a lot more of the ball. And he's really struggling to show that plan at the moment. He's really struggling to implement any sort of system on the ball that is showing a progressive way forward and showing that he's able to get players in good position consistently and able to create chances consistently. It seems though his only plan is get forward, get out wide, and either get a crossing or win a corner, and then try to do something from the corner. Seems to be no other plan right now other than to do that and get it to Kudus, hope he dribbles past 2 or 3 players. And also going at Brentford, the reality is at Brentford he can go 10 games without winning and no one really bats an eye. It's not really noticed. At Tottenham, you go 2 games like that and it's a crisis. That's the difference. There's a lot more eyes on him now. There's a lot more. Everyone's looking at him very, very closely. Whereas at Brentford, look, did a great job, but when your goal every season is just to stay up and stay in the Premier League, you can have a long stretch of games where you're not playing well, not scoring, and no one really notices. And so you're not going to notice. How many times did you watch Brentford? I'm sure you watched them a few times, but it's not like you watch them every week. You obviously probably watch them for the big games and stuff like that, where they go under the radar and they surprise some people. But there was probably loads of games where they probably played like we did yesterday, where they struggled to create anything and struggled to get in the opposition box. That happens a lot as well. So for me, this was the problem when we had Frank. Frank as well doesn't have experience managing in European football. Doesn't have experience managing two games a week as well a lot. So he's also kind of learning on the job. He's learning what he can and can't do. And this is leading to what we're seeing at the moment, which is he's really struggling to kind of balance trying to fix the defence that was really leaky last season while also still sustaining some sort of in possession way of playing and creating chances so we can actually win games of football. And the problem now is we're kind of not doing either. We're not defending well. We're looking disorganised. We're leaking chances. You look at the XG we've conceded, people say we're a good defensive team. I think we're the 5th worst in terms of the whole league, in terms of chances conceded. We've actually gotten lucky. A lot of the games, Vicario's made a lot of good saves, and in a lot of these games, we haven't actually been as defensively solid as people make out. And on the flip side, we're really struggling to create chances. And the reality is actually the forward line are actually getting a lot more goals out of the chances we've created than they should have. People blame Richarlison. he has gotten 2 XG this season. He's got 5 goals out of 2 expected goals. So he's actually scored double the amount of goals you'd expect him to this season, Richarlison. And people go in on him like he's the problem. I'm not saying he's had an amazing season, but that's just reality. The forward players that we've got are actually doing a lot with, or the players, I should say, the team, I should say, are doing a lot with what they're getting in terms of their creating, because we're not creating anything. So Frank has got big problems. And this Fulham game now, I think everyone's expecting PSG to be a loss. This Fulham game is now massive. It's a massive game for him. He's under serious pressure because it's a home game as well. We haven't won at home since the opening game of the season, which is another problem, which in and of itself is a massive issue. And if we have another insipid display, even if we win, if we have another insipid display, like, it's going to be trouble for him.
I think if we win, naturally the feeling around the stadium at the end of it will be happy. But if we do go and lose to Fulham next week, let's assume that we lose to PSG, right? If we go and lose to Fulham next week, and it's similar to performance than what we've seen in recent weeks against Arsenal, against Chelsea, these kind of performances, do you think the club actually do something? Like, do you reckon they'll sack him?
I don't. I tell you why.
Because I think like the noise inside the stadium after that, it will be major.
I tell you why I don't think they do. Sorry. It's because there's been so much change in the hierarchy. It's a bit similar to how I see what United have done with Amorim. It's because they've made a change early on in their tenure. They're just going to give it time. I think they're going to ride it out. I don't think they do anything drastic. Obviously, Levy's out the helm. They're now trying to portray, well, we're going in this different direction, all these different things. I don't think they're going to want to have a quote-unquote massive mistake on their record so early on. So I think they're going to give it every opportunity to work out. And I don't think they pull the trigger this early. I think they're going to give it time. I think even up until January, if there's loads of really poor performances, and look, to be fair, if it keeps being like we've seen against Arsenal and Chelsea, where we're barely creating an opportunity and we're just getting sliced open, maybe they change it. But as long as we're winning the odd game here and there, and we're keeping in fair contention with the top 7, I guess, come January, maybe we get a couple of signings. I do think they'll just give it time. I don't think they're actually going to consider sacking him, to be honest. I don't. I mean, who?
But what if the players are not actually buying into this?
Then you got big question marks there. Big question marks.
Because that's what I saw. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, I saw that yesterday. I saw players just lazing about on that pitch. I saw players not busting a gut for the team or for the manager or for the badge, for the fans, for nothing. I saw just players bereft and lost on that pitch. And that comes down from the manager.
100%. And when you've gone from an approach, whatever you want to say about last season, it was like a brave approach, like to be that attacking as we were. And obviously the players, they were used to that. And now we've gone into this kind of mode where we seem like, I don't understand why we're so pragmatic though, because that's not what Frank has always been, a defensive manager, but he's not been known as being like an Allardyce or a Pulis or any of these managers. That's not he's not really been that kind of drastic. So I don't understand why we're seeing things like yesterday where we're so uber pragmatic, as if we're a lower league team, like Scott Parker's Burnley or something. What
I didn't like as well was him in his post-match yesterday. He was apologising and, everything was fine. And he was saying, it's not good enough. And then at the end, he was like, oh, but we need to remember that we finished 17th last season. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, come on, man, have a bit more about you than actually, blaming it on the fact that we finished 17th and, we're actually not so much of a good team. Look how much money we've spent on this squad. We had 2 of our backline. I know we've had so many conversations about why last season wasn't good enough and Ange and everything like that. But you've got near, Maddison and Kulusevski aside, near to a full strength 11. You know what I mean? And a hell of a lot of money spent on that team. That team that he played yesterday should be nowhere near 17th, and it should be fighting for the Champions League or at the very least the Europa League. So don't bloody use 17th as an excuse for that performance yesterday.
And whatever you want to say about Ange, I don't think we ever had a performance as bad as that with Romero and Van der Ven in the team. I don't remember any performances as bad as that when those two were fit and available. And not to say that's I'm just saying when those two were available, our record was not bad, and we never looked as bad as we've looked in some of these games. We've looked with Romero and Van de Ven in the back, and you look at the team yesterday, like who are these like terrible players? I'm supposed to think are just awful and like can't like do anything. Like I'm seeing, I saw so much criticism. Oh, the players are just rubbish. The players are just, they can't do anything. It's
scapegoats.
Players. Richarlison, everyone was going in on Richarlison after the game yesterday as if he's like public enemy number one, and he was like the big reason why we lost yesterday. Like our back line was pretty much first choice. We've got some good players in the back line. Paulinho, everyone's raving about. Right, Bentancur, I know Bentancur had a horrible game. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world. This is a player who's won many titles starting in midfield for Juventus. This is not a bad footballer. He can play. We've seen it at Tottenham. I know he's not been the same player since his injury, but this isn't like a terrible player. Like Kudus, everyone's saying he's a great player. He's a good right winger. Right, I know Richarlison and Odegaard, okay, they're not the best at the moment. Odegaard's been improving recently, and Richarlison has 5 goals this season in the Premier League. It's not like everyone's saying we need a player who can put it back of the net, but I think he's like, in the Premier League terms, I think he's 5th top goal scorer in the whole league. So it's not exactly like he's struggling in front of goal. And as I said, like he's, in terms of the chances he's put away compared to what he's been offered, he's actually got double the amount you'd expect him to score, even more. So is he the big problem? Like, I'm not seeing these awful players. Like last season, we were playing a lot of the season with like Archie Gray and Ben Davis and Dragusin at the back. That was like a different kettle of fish. Like we had teenagers like Bergvall learning his ropes in the Premier League. Like that was like a big worry. This season is not the same. I know we have had injuries, and I am sympathetic to the fact that we have no Kulusevski and Mo Madison. But if I was seeing Tottenham get in positions, right, get into a number of good positions and maybe not have the final touch, or maybe the passing's a bit off, or maybe no one's putting in the finishing touches, and then I could say, okay, we had some better attackers, it'll be different. But at the moment, we're not getting near their penalty box. That's the problem. We're not getting in their half. We're not literally, we can't string 2 passes together.
And that's a tactical setup.
That's got to be tactics, right? It's not about, we're getting into the final third and then all of a sudden it breaks down or someone's missing a chance. No, we're not getting there. We're not getting near their box. And that is what I'm seeing at the moment.
Yeah, and that's what's, all there for everyone to see on the pitch. And like I said before, like, do I think these players are world beaters, and do I think we can win the league with a lot of these players? Obviously not. Like Richarlison, I'd be happy to move him on, but he was probably one of our better players on the pitch yesterday. At least he was fighting a little bit with their centre-backs. We had Richarlison start this game. We had Muani start the Chelsea game. Every time there's another player to blame. Well, I think we need to look at the manager, and I think he needs to make drastic improvements if he's going to save himself. Look, I want to give him till the end of the season, but there will become a point if this carries on where it gets a bit too much and we can't carry on. Mm-hmm. But right now, I want to support him through this, and I want to support him and hoping and praying that he can turn it around. But like I said before, as each game comes, I start to question it more.
For me, the jury's out. The jury's massively out on what I'm seeing, on him. Like, if there is a better manager available, I'm open to a change. I think at the moment, I'm not a massive fan of changing managers mid-season, to be honest. I'm not. And I always think if you've gone with it in a certain direction, you should give it every opportunity to have it work. That is my way of thinking. And I don't want to get rid of Frank. I like Frank. I don't want to get rid of him right now. It might be a bit too hasty. Unless there is an outstanding candidate, which is there.
But I guess that's what we did under Nuno, right? It was a lot of the similar problems that we're facing now under Nuno, and we got Conte in.
Exactly, there was an outstanding candidate,
yeah.
Conte. If there was an equivalent of a Conte or someone attacking-wise who I really could fully believe, okay, we have to get this guy in. Because obviously when Conte's sitting there, and if you're able to get him in, you'd be stupid not to, right? So if there's a manager like that, ready and waiting, then okay, I'm open to it. I'm open to just cutting our losses right now. I'm not really seeing it, and I do think, look, I'm massively look, for me, the jury's massively out on Frank. I don't know whether he's capable of doing what we need him to do at this football club for a manager at Tottenham Hotspur. The manager of a club of our kind of financial resources, expected to do what they're expected to do on the pitch, right? At the moment, we do seem to be playing like Brentford. That is the truth.
I think we seem to be playing a lot worse than Brentford.
In fact, Brentford right now are probably playing better than us.
A lot worse than Brentford.
I'm saying Keith Andrews is probably playing better than us right now.
We're not playing like Brentford. We're playing like League Two We're playing like a League Two outfit. Just literally hitting and hoping, asking. It's like schoolboy football, right? When you're in the playground, you're like, all right, just get it to your best player and let's hope he can run around everyone on the pitch and maybe we can get a goal off it. You know, what I mean, that's the way we're playing right now. It just seems to be no sort of tactical setup whatsoever.
And at the moment, what was I going to say? Yeah, at the moment, a lot of fans are starting to question what direction we are going in under this manager. And it's crazy to think because, not so long ago we're sitting here like, oh look, we're fourth in the league, everything's okay. Like we're not playing well, but we're still getting results. Oh, he's timed the defence, and it hasn't taken that long. But that's what happens when you're playing the way we are. And what happened to it's a risk not to take risks? What happened to that? What happened to that? That was his mantra. Everyone was like, oh, aura, oh, cold comment. There's been nothing of the sort there. It's the whole game model seems to be about not taking risks. That's the whole game model.
I think we got no choice but to give it time and to hope that he can turn it around and hope that he can show us something different. As of now, it's not been good enough. As of now, it's hard to see how we move forward. But there's been a lot of managers like that over the past where at the beginning it hasn't gone well, and at the beginning they're saying this manager's clueless, this manager's tactically inept, and he's managed to turn it around. I mean, Iraola was one, Arteta was one, Alex Ferguson was one.
Iraola?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't
yeah.
So, I mean, there's been so many managers in that kind of mode where the fans have just been completely against it from like after 12 games or whatever, and he's managed to get his ideas across. Like, surely this is not his ideas. Like this can't be his. This can't be his idea. Like his just to stick everyone behind the ball and just lump the ball forward. Like, surely not. Like,
but if it's not translating to the players, it's also another problem. Like, why is it so hard to get your message across of what we want to do? Why is it so difficult week to week? Yeah, and he keeps saying, "Oh, this was a bad performance. Oh, this when we're not doing this and that." Why is there no intensity ever? I think that's a big barometer for me of like how much the players are buying into what the manager wants. About when you see the intensity in the players, how aggressive they are, how getting stuck in they are, if they're doing the extra running. And at the moment, it just seems as though they're not. Mm-hmm. They're not doing that. And that's a big issue. I think last season we did too much running, right?
Yeah.
And we were getting lots of injuries. But this season, I don't know what the running stats are, but it just seems as though when I'm looking on the pitch, there's such a lack of intensity. And that's happened way too often this season.
We can't be doing too much running because there's nowhere to run. We're just stuck in like a third of the pitch every game. So I don't think there's much places to run. But look, what are we supposed to do? Like, sack a manager? Who are we going to bring in?
I wouldn't sack him on a whim. I don't even know if I'll be sounding out managers even just yet, but I don't know what I'd be doing right now if I was a hierarchy. I think you just got to give it time. I think you're right, but I don't know if we could be sitting here in January in a lot more untenable position. But I guess you got to let it play out. I think you just got to let it play out at the moment.
Yeah,
that's the reality. And
you do have to let it play out, and you got to give him the opportunity to turn it around. And
12
managers have done it before in the past, where exactly. So
the thing is with Poch though, the difference I guess you would say is when he was manager, he came in and he wanted to implement this like really high pressing system and all this kind of stuff, but then he was like he basically had what they call the bomb squad in his way. You had like Adebayor, Kabul, Lennon, all these guys.
The old guard,
the old guard, who just didn't want to do it. They weren't interested. Because they were the more experienced players, he just kept going with them. Saldada, like all these players, like because they were the more experienced ones. They were the ones on higher wages. He kept playing them, but it got to that point, didn't it? I think it was around this time where obviously we had that Villa game, and after that he was like, okay, enough's enough. I'm getting in the youngsters. I'm getting in Ryan Mason. I'm getting in, Bentaleb. I'm getting in Bentaleb. I'm getting in all the Harry Kane. I'm going to start them. And even though they're the young and inexperienced ones, they're going to do what I ask. Has like Frank, but I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what Frank, in terms of a analogous situation, I don't know how he would like change up in that sort of dramatic fashion like Poch did to just get his methods across. Because who's it on the pitch not doing what he says? I don't know. Why is he refusing to use Sarr and Bergvall like recently? I don't get it. Why is he? I understand in this game like Palini and Bentancur, but in recent weeks, Sarr and I know Bergvall had the concussion, but like they've been very.
He did
underused.
start that game, didn't he?
Which one? The
Chelsea game. Yeah,
that's fair. But I feel like there's been a reluctance to use for a lot of this season both those players. Like in general, like obviously Bentancur, Palhinha have been just mainstays in the team. Like there's been a massive reluctance to change up, get some younger players. He seems too wedded to like that double pivot massively. Like there's something, I don't know what needs to change drastically. Is it just the tactics? Is it the players? But something drastic does need to change to shake these players up.
I think the tactics first and foremost need to change. I think that is the first thing that needs to change. Personnel we can go for, like I've always said, particularly in the home games when you're not playing top position away from home, go with one of Palhinha and Bentancur. Put him in a middle three with Javi in the 10 and one of Sarr and Bergvall in the middle three. Have a few of forward-thinking players in that midfield, ask a few questions of the opposition. Go with a doggy on the left. Go with Spence or maybe even probably Porro on the right-hand side. Don't be so negative on the pitch. I think it's much more of a tactical situation than it is a personnel. But the reality is, the more we play like this, the more we get into the season, the more embarrassing results that we suffer. The players just going to continue losing belief.
And the problem is we've got games coming thick and fast. So like there's not like there's loads of time on the training ground to like really drastically fix these issues massively. And we keep hearing, he's fixing the defence before he gets to fixes the attack and all this kind of stuff. I don't buy it. Like there's a relationship between both of them. You've got to work on both. You can't just work on one and neglect the other. Now both are getting worse. That's a problem.
Look, at the beginning of the season, I could buy it a bit more. But right now, when the defence is just regressing each game, like there's that excuse don't wash anymore.
And then we're still not creating a chance. We're still getting worse. The problem is as well, like just in regards to like Spurs managers, what you can think of in the past, how often is it that like they come in, they're playing a certain way, and then it just drastically changes? You know what I mean? Like yes, you can either get worse or better in terms of how they want to play, but how often does like an approach from a manager drastically change? Like, apart from maybe Poch, but you would say it's more personnel than the way he was playing.
I would say wasn't there a situation with Conte at Chelsea? He started off with one formation and it was just going completely wrong. And then at one stage, I think it was a loss to Arsenal, he was like, look, enough is enough. I'm going back to my tried and tested. And
that was after like 5 games. Yeah, that did happen.
I mean, there is...
But that again, that was more... It was a formation change, but it wasn't like he started playing attacking football, you know what I mean? It was like, we're going to tweak the formation. We're going to play a back three now. But is this? I don't even know if this is a formation.
It's not a formation thing because we've tried 2 different formations against Chelsea and Arsenal, and it was the exact same result. So it's definitely a mentality thing. It's definitely instruction on the pitch. It's not a formation thing. You're right. I thought, like I said before, if he goes 3-5-2 yesterday, that gives us a hope in hell because we just conceded the midfield to them.
Yeah.
How can he look at that with us, with one of the strongest, if not the strongest midfield in the league with Declan Rice and Zubimendi? How can he think just taking one man out of the midfield is going to make the world of difference for us? That was never going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't understand that as well. I don't know why. And if you're going to do that, you need one of the centre backs at times to like be stepping in or something. You need someone helping you out there. And with Palhinha and Bentancur chasing shadows yesterday. But yeah, my point being, like, is it just wishful thinking to hope that Frank is just going to switch it all up and it's going to be like he's going to start getting us playing free-flowing football at some point? Is that just wishful thinking? Like, how often does a manager just completely switch things up?
The thing is, I don't care if we play free-flowing football or not. I just want us to play effective football. I want us to be able to create some chances. I want us to put us in a position to actually viably win games. Because we're not winning games. When we are winning games, they're not viably. We're not creating a high amount of XG. We're not putting oppositions under threat. We don't have many tools in our armory in terms of the way we're playing football at this moment in time. So I couldn't really give two shits about. It's very nice to play free-flowing football and everything like that. In an ideal world, that is what I want to see. But first and foremost, I just want to see effective football and winning football. And the way we're going about our business now, we're very far off that.
You just want to see a vision, right? You want to see a plan which you can get behind. And at the moment, I just don't see any of that. I don't see any of that. The best we've seen was obviously that Man City away, and that was fine. But look, that was a good performance, and like PSG. But even the PSG game, which we nearly won, that was again set pieces, wasn't it? Again, yes, we were more intense. Don't get me wrong, and it was better than what we saw yesterday. But again, we're still relying on set pieces to win a game.
Yeah, but that's okay in a game like that against PSG. But it's like when you're relying on set pieces literally every single game, and you're hardly creating a chance every single game. Like, you're playing Everton, you can't create a chance. You have to rely on set pieces. That's not PSG. Like, PSG, I can take it, because PSG are like the best team in Europe right now. Like, you've got to find any sort of avenue to hurt them. That's fine. But the way we approached that game against PSG was the way I want to see us approach games. Be aggressive, press high up the pitch, force them into mistakes, look a genuine threat. Even because we only scored set pieces, I was happy with the way we played, and I thought we were a genuine threat that game. It's this game, again, these recent games, we're not a genuine threat. There is a lot to be worried about. And we're playing teams that we should be beating. And yeah, maybe we are getting a few wins here and there, but it's just so hard to watch, and we're lucky to win some of these games, and it's not effective. The way we're playing is just nowhere near as effective as it should be.
I felt like before as well, he could kind of hide behind the fact that the league position was good, right? We were like, we'll win the top 6, top 5 even for a lot of the season, but now we're 9th. So, another loss, we could be as low as 15th with another loss. So all of a sudden, you can't hide behind that anymore.
Once he starts to get in that realm of us being 15th, like literally a few more losses we're away from that. We got Newcastle away coming up. We all know how that goes usually. So as soon as he gets into that realm, the fans are going to very quickly turn more than they've turned right now, and it's going to start to get very, very toxic. Even more, and it is toxic already, but I'm saying proper toxic.
And also the problem for him, unfortunately for him, is he doesn't have Levy to kind of take the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's only one way to look, really. Whereas right now, maybe a lot of people say, oh, Levy this, Levy that, blah, blah, blah. I've already seen, to be honest, not Levy, but I've seen like people saying, oh, Enoch is still here, blame the Enoch. But
I think that's such a lazy argument, though. It's like, we haven't had one transfer window since he's gone. Like, give them a chance, you know what I mean? Give them a chance of a couple transfer windows. So I think that the ownership debate and the ownership argument, there's nothing in that until we see a few transfer windows.
I have to say, if this does go wrong with Frank at the moment, I think Fabio's got to surely take. So if he was involved in, I don't know if he was he involved in the decision to hire Frank?
Well, he got hired after. I mean, he got put fully on. He joined the club in a full capacity way after Frank came in. So I don't know. He was in an advisory role, wasn't he?
Okay. So maybe he doesn't get the brunt of it. But obviously he was like fully behind the Nuno hiring, which was a disaster.
Yeah. But also with the Nuno hiring, he tried to hire like 5 managers before Nuno.
Gattuso.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Fonseca.
But I don't understand. I just think the people who decided on hiring Frank, I think, got a lot to answer for at the moment with the way we're playing. Like, if they said one of the boxes that was ticked was he knows how to play good attacking football. And I don't know, that wasn't what my perception of Brentford were, to be honest. That wasn't what I thought Brentford were. So I don't know how they came to that conclusion that the
But Brentford did do that under Frank in the Championship when they were one of the favourite teams.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Well, it does, because it shows that he can do it.
A lot of managers can do it in the Championship. A lot of managers do that in the Championship. Play good football.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to show you're able to do it in the Premier League.
But he was never going to do it in the Premier League with Brentford because...
Okay, so what basis are you giving him the job? Even Kompany was playing better football. That's how he got the job, because he played good football. And that's what they based the job on, right?
What, with the Bayern job?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he went down, didn't he?
He did go down, but they gave him the job based off the football he was able to play.
Yeah.
Like, Frank was... I understand. Look, that would have sent Brentford down. Fair enough. But I'm just saying, he's hired on off the base. He's not hired because he got he got Brentford promoted from the Championship, was he? That's not why he was hired. He was hired for the job he did for them in the Premier League. But he never showed that kind of football in the Premier League.
You know, the more I think about it, it is like I'm going to take it back to what I said before about the Nuno thing. Like, do you remember when Nuno got hired and we were looking back at all his past teams and be like, oh, look, he played attacking football there. Oh, look, he played attacking football there. That's basically what I'm doing right now with Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, look, he played attacking football in the Championship.
Nuno was also known for being adaptable. Oh, sometimes he would play a back three, sometimes he would play a back four. Look how adaptable he was at Wolves. He had all these different systems. Same thing. And once he got to a better club, and to be fair to him, at Forest he did very well. But I'm not saying he's a bad manager, but is he the right manager for Tottenham?
I guess like
that's the big question mark.
What we need to see from Frank is why we hired him as well is his in terms of his ability to develop players. You can't develop players over the course of 12 games.
Fair.
That needs to be over a long stretch of time.
That's fair. And also, to be fair to Frank, apparently yesterday was the 9th different attacking combination we've had in the forward line in 12 games. So it's very hard to build any sort. I mean, obviously he's the one changing it, but I'm guessing he's changing it because of form and injuries and stuff like that. It's very hard to build cohesion when it's chopping and changing that much in the front line. And on top of that, a lot of them are new players, they're young players. So I get all that, and that's fair enough. Like I'm not saying we need to be some like amazing attacking team which are just opening teams up at will, but maybe not be 19th for chances created. I think it's like maybe be 10th.
It also is. It's an extremely hard job, the Tottenham job right now. Like in the shadows of Kane and Son, it was obviously going to take a massive spiral downwards after losing two of the biggest legends we've had. How many times over the years of Mourinho, Conte, back end of Poch, Nuno, all these managers that have come and gone since Pochettino left the club, and it's Son and Kane getting us out the rubbish like for majority of games.
Yeah,
Frank don't have that to fall back on. That's the reality.
That's true. He like that quality doesn't come around often. That's fair. And so, on that point,
they've been our safety net for so many years. Even last season, even in everyone was telling me a washed Sonny, he got our most goal contributions and our most chances created.
Yeah, but it's not like we were relying on him.
Well, without his goal contributions, without his chances created, we might have got relegated.
I don't know about that.
You never know.
I don't know about that. I don't agree with that. Look, Son wasn't great last season.
No, but he's still got our most goal contributions and most chances created.
I know, but it's true. But it's not like he was great. It's not like we were heavily relying on him to like score. Otherwise, we weren't doing anything anyway. But anyway, it's not the point. Look, Son was good for us, and I agree. Son and Kane, they don't come around so often. And you're right. Frank doesn't have that, but he's got enough talent to work with. For me, more than enough talent to work with in the forward line, and he's got enough resources. We spent a lot of money in the summer, like on forward players. He's got more than enough talent to create an opportunity. So I don't know. Like I get it. It's harder, but I don't think it's an excuse. Like it's an excuse maybe to not be like to not score as many goals as we should, but it's not an excuse not to create a single opportunity in a game. That's not an excuse.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. He's got to be doing a lot better, and I just don't know. We just have to begin. I just think that we have to give him the opportunity to turn it around, and sacking him right now does nobody any favours. There's no manager waiting in the wings. This special manager that's come in and going to change all of our fortunes. That's the reality. But after a embarrassing defeat that we saw yesterday, it's hard. You have to question. You have to question the manager right now, because I think he is the biggest issue.
Let's take a temperature check in the comments. Let's see what people are thinking. Got a poll going. Let's see where the layers quite split. Quite split at the moment. 48% in, 52% out. There's only 30 votes. Come on, let's get it to. There you go. Now in is overtaken. 51% in. 49, very close, neck and neck, the poll. Let's get it to a few hundred votes. Come on, it's 800. Well, I don't know how many people you subscribe, but only subscriber only, I guess, can vote.
We can't just keep we can't just keep hiring and firing managers.
That's also true.
We just, at one point, we're going to need to give a manager, you know, Ange got 2 years. That's fair enough. I think that's, you know, that's
won a trophy.
Yeah, he won a trophy, and, you know, I'll be forever thankful for Ange for winning us a trophy. But I think he needs to be given, at the very, very least, till the end of the season, in my opinion. But like I said before, at one point during the season, it might become untenable if it keeps going on this way. Do you reckon the plan is, as someone says in the comments, you know, just stay above water, Frank, this season, and get Pochettino back at the end of the year?
Maybe. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know if that's the plan. I'm sure it's always an option. I don't know. I just feel like it lacks a bit of imagination just going back for Poch right now. But
What managers out there would you want?
well, he's not available right now.
Well, he will be at the end of the season.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Try and convince Klopp.
Klopp. He already said he will never manage any other team in the Premier League apart from
Mourinho
Liverpool.
said he'd never manage Spurs.
He did say that, yeah. Look, Klopp ain't coming.
Maybe Slot will be available soon.
Oh, Slot. would you take Slot after this?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know if I would.
Well, I think I'll take Slot. One day Ramos, someone said. What about Iraola?
Slot just spent 400 million with Liverpool, after the title-winning Liverpool, and he's 10th in the league, lower than us, isn't he?
Yeah, but he won the league.
Yeah, he won the league, but this is one of the worst title defences I've ever seen. Literally. I don't think I would take Slot. I think you'd be mad to take Slot.
You'd be mad to take Slot.
Yeah.
No, I'll take
With
Slot.
what he's doing right now, this is embarrassing. This is Liverpool we're talking about.
Yeah, the season's not over yet. It might be a difficult season for them, but let's say he still finishes in the top 4. Like, he's going to sit here and say, oh, he won the league in top 4, I wouldn't take him.
Well, I'm just judging on what I've seen so far this season.
I get it. It's been a disaster this season, no doubt about it, so far. But just look, we know the type of football he wants to play, and he's won a league. That's like, surely you get enough credit for winning a league. You can't just say he's bad after 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. But I mean, ever since he's trying to adapt to like his kind of style and his new players that he's brought in, like he's brought in some unbelievable players to the football club, and he's failing miserably.
It's fair. Glasner?
I mean, I said Glasner last season when look, the two managers.
Glasner and Iraola would be the two.
Exactly, they're the two managers I mentioned last season. Glasner and Iraola. I think they're both brilliant managers.
I think Iraola I might prefer to what I'm saying. The only reason I didn't want him was I think I'd rather just stick with Ange than go to Iraola. But now obviously Ange is gone. Maybe I would consider Iraola more because I think I like his style. But then again, I think more with the Glasner one, it's like their average possession again is like one of the lowest in the league. So again, how does that scale up to Tottenham? It's a big question mark.
But he's actually got success there. He's won an FA Cup with Crystal Palace.
Yeah, he's won a league. Yeah, and he's also lost best players and continuing to replace them. So,
but I don't think we get Glasner or Iraola. I don't know who we're going to get. But let's stick it out with Frank and see what happens.
After 176 votes, it's 53% in and 47% out. So quite tight, but in is just about, well, no, pretty. It's in is winning.
This is like how are we in this situation again? Like the back end of last season, we were doing these votes. It was exactly the same percentages.
After Everton, you said you couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Couldn't be happier, you said.
And how many have we won since then?
Just Copenhagen.
I shouldn't have said it. I should have been angry. We'd have won.
One win in the last 5 games.
Against Copenhagen.
Against Copenhagen. Yeah.
The thing is, after that Everton game, I thought I could see a few signs of life. But ever since that Everton game, every game has been horrific. Every single one. Manchester United, I thought maybe we were slightly the better team, but a draw maybe was a fair reflection of the game. But it's been horrific. It really has been horrific.
Even the Newcastle game we were praising, even though we lost that.
Yeah. It's because we're just trying to cling on to anything that we can cling on to. But right now, there's nothing.
We need Daigle to shake us into...
Oh, mate, I think Daigle's going to get AWOL. Missing in action.
Surely he hasn't lost faith yet. If anyone's going to keep the faith in Frank, it's got to be Daigle.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But look, I still am. I still believe in him. I still believe in the manager. It's just that, like I said, as each game passes, the more and more I question it. And it's.
I think results-wise and like performance-wise, we can turn it around. But whether we're ever going to truly be happy with what he's given us, I question that. Like, he could probably get us challenging for Europe, but I just question his style of play. I don't know if we're ever going to take to it. And then when it's bad, there's nothing to cling on to. There's nothing you're building towards when it's bad. That's the problem.
Yeah, but if he can get us competing on a regularity and getting us playing effective football, then I'll be happy with that for now.
If he gets us into Europe winning every game like how we did against Everton, like maybe he could do that, yeah, probably. But does that mean that's what I want? What
Europe? Europa League or Champions League?
Yeah, Europa League or Champions League.
Which one? Big difference.
I don't think he gets in the Champions League playing in that way, but let's say Europa League.
Yeah, because we were saying only a few weeks ago that fourth or fifth place is there for the taking.
It still is.
And if he can get us into the Champions League, then I'll have no problem with it, because that will be effective football.
No, that's fair. But no, that's fair. If he gets in the Champions League, I don't really care. But the problem is, right? If he's saying now, we were 17th last season, right? He's giving these excuses already? Does that mean he's not even like considering that as a target? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means that he's feeling the pressure, I think.
And like, for me, as whatever people want to say, I look at our squad, and I think we should definitely be in that conversation. That's my opinion. Like, it's not that it's not as bad as people are saying. I'm not saying we're clear favourites or anything. But there's no reason why we can't be in that conversation for that fifth spot or at least sixth. No reason why not.
Yeah, I agree. And I said at the beginning of the season, I expect us to be in that fight and that conversation. And the more and more we churn out these kind of performances and results, the further away we're getting week by week. So it needs to change. It needs to change quickly, but he needs to be given the opportunity to change it and turn it around. And
to be fair, I always said I was probably going to be second after the season till we really start to see Frank in full flow. So I'm going to give him that opportunity, but it's when things are getting worse, that's just a problem, big problem.
Yeah. But still early days, only 12 games under Thomas Frank, and he deserves that opportunity. But the poll is saying 56% in, 44% out, with 248 votes. Got a couple of super chats, quite a few actually. First one is from, here, this one. Vinicius Carrera saying, firing the coach who ended a 17-year trophy drought has consequences. He knew what held the club back, and now the club chooses to return to mediocrity. I mean, it's hard to say going back to mediocrity when we finished 17th last season, but we did win a trophy. Fair enough, but
I'm very close to saying I'd have Ange back.
I know. You've been close to say this is day one of the season, mate. But I think...
I'd much rather Ange than this, that's for sure.
Well, if we finish... It depends where we finish. Like, I'm not taking another 17th place finish again.
No, of course not. But I don't think... Look, I've said it before. I don't think that would happen again. But anyway.
I think when you're talking about going back to mediocrity, we've been in mediocrity for many years now. Like, this isn't... like, it's not like we were an unbelievable team last season.
True.
We got by and won the and the Europa League, just about. And we finished 17th last season. The year before we finished 5th, fair enough. It's been very up and down. So we've actually, on merit by our league position, finished in the Champions League, once in the last 6 years or something?
Since 2019, yeah, it's been once now, it's Conte.
Exactly. So We've been mediocre at this football club for quite some time, and I think people with their expectations of this football club are still living in like the Pochettino era, expecting us to, you know, fight at the top of the league and get consistent fourth place finishes. That's just not where we're at right now. That's the reality.
Yeah. I mean, that should be the goal, but that's not where we're at right now. I agreed.
Yeah.
But with our team, with our resources, there's no reason why we shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that because of the wage structure we've put ourselves in, we've had to pay top whack for players that don't expect top whack wages. And in essence, you don't get the same caliber of player of the teams that you're supposed to be fighting with. And that's where our squad planning's gone. We spent 50 million on Brennan Johnson. We spent 65 million on Richarlison, 60 million on Solanke. Name me another top 4 club that would do that. No one, because no one wants to. Other clubs would bring in top quality to spend the top wages and bring in top players that will kick the club on. We haven't done that. We've brought in players as like that will just get us by.
Okay, but in terms of resources and stuff, why can't we be in that conversation for 5th regularly?
Well,
we did finish 5th under Ange, but
not regularly.
No, not regularly.
So, I think you've obviously got Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, who have come up now spending. All these clubs have spent a hell of a lot of money, and Man City, so they're 4th, and I think all 4 of them are comfortably better than us. So you're fighting for one more spot. So who are you talking about? We're fighting for that spot with Aston Villa,
Newcastle United.
Yeah, and I think we are fighting against those teams. But the reality is, when these teams want to go and make signings, I'm talking about under Daniel Levy and stuff. Like they showed more ambition than maybe we showed.
What ambition? Well, United, yes, because they always go for a big name. But like Newcastle and Villa, when you go just purely on like wages and transfer fees, it's similar to us, isn't it?
It's true. When you're looking at the whole outlook, it is similar. But you look at Aston Villa last season, they needed to kick on second half of the season, and they go get a Rashford, a Sancho. But they spend the wages. Okay, we would never do that.
And they're not here now.
No, they're not here now because it became untenable for them to keep them on. But if we did that, it wouldn't be untenable for us because we've got so much leeway. So why can't we go to the... I'm not getting into a conversation about the ownership because this is an old conversation that, you know, when it was under Daniel Levy, and I want to see changes under the new ownership or the new structure of the ownership come the next couple of windows. But we all know the ownership held us back.
I'm saying we're getting outperformed by Villa and Newcastle in these deals, but it's not about the amount of money. It's just about the quality of our scouting or recruitment or whatever it is.
But we want to be fighting higher than that, though, don't we?
But I'm saying one step at a time, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to beat these teams first. They're outmaneuvering us at the moment.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, Newcastle are lower than us in the league right now.
Fair, but they've had more top 4 finishes in the last few years than we have.
Yeah, because they've had stability. We don't have stability. We keep hiring and firing managers. Newcastle have had Eddie Howe for a long stretch of time now, and he's done a very good job there. Aston Villa have had Unai Emery for a long stretch of time now. They've found the right managers and they've stuck with it, and they've reaped the benefits ish.
Those managers though improved it very quickly.
Yeah, but not everyone gets to the same kind of way, to the goal in the same way.
Got time.
Yeah, but you know, Ruben Amorim starting to turn the corner now. It's not like he started well.
It's true, we start on him. Let's be honest.
I mean, he's doing well.
He's doing fine.
He's doing better than Thomas Frank is right now.
I agree with that, but a couple of losses and he's back in mid-table and everyone's clowning on him again.
But that's the situation for everyone. A couple of losses and you're back in mid-table.
Okay, it's fair, but I'm talking about how they're playing. Look, the results are turning, but I'm not necessarily massively impressed yet with United. Let's see if they can do it over a long stretch, not just 5 games.
Well, what am I even trying to prove to you here now?
I don't know.
I'm trying to prove something that I don't even know what I'm trying to prove. But the reality is that the players that we've signed, I think, are decent for a decent level.
I agree.
They're decent, but they're not great. That's what I'm trying to say.
What's the next super chat?
Shuli Madoff saying, "Wait until Arsenal comes to your toilet bowl stadium."
God's sake, these people.
Southeast Koi says, "No."
Must be subscribed to us.
Yeah, thank you for the subscription. Saying, "No coincidence. The last time we were consistently good competing, the manager was here for longer than a year and a half. Cliche, but trust the process." Yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah. And look, Poch could have easily gone at a similar time, to be fair.
There's so many examples of it, man. So many examples of it. So we'll just have to grin and bear it for now and see what comes out the other end. And look, at the end of the day, the manager will get what's coming for him. If it doesn't go well over a sustained amount of time, then he'll get sacked. If he can turn it around, then great, and everyone gets what they want.
But again, even with Poch, at least at Southampton, you saw the way they played football. Like, that's what we wanted.
Yeah. But every case is different, though, isn't it? Like, we just got to support them. I'm going to support the manager through it, and I think that's the only way to get through it. I think the club need to move forward together, and we need to support this team and this manager, and if it still fails after that, then he's going to get sacked. What else can we do?
Start asking for him to go.
And then what? And then what? We're just...
That's the other option.
But nobody wants to see that, surely.
I wouldn't say nobody.
Yeah, but what's the point? Just more toxicity. Like, can't we just like come together and just try and support someone through a bad moment?
I know.
And I know it's rich coming from me with everything that I said about Ange last season. I know that, but I just look at things a bit differently now. Like,
he's seen the light.
Yeah, I just want to support him through it. It's true.
I'm fine supporting him through. I think I'll give him till the second half of the season, let's see what he's really about. But at the moment, it's like, can I just have a shot on target? Is that too much?
Kirozai says, "I think the real problem is constant manager changes. People think if we fail, the coach gets sacked, not us. Clear out the long-serving, influential players with Frank and reset the squad." But who are these long-serving, influential? Yeah, you know what I mean.
He's like a longer-serving player.
Who are these long-serving, influential players? Who are they?
Romero,
Richarlison, fair enough. We can move Richarlison on.
Romero, Bentancur,
fair enough.
Kulusevski. Who else is long-serving? Sarr, maybe you could say Sarr.
But you talk about long-serving, like it's like a few years.
Yeah, Romero came in 2021. Davis obviously is the longest one. Like, the squad has had. People just forget. Like, the squad's had a major change in the last couple years. Like, big changes. Since Ange has come in, the squad from when Ange took over, or the end of Conte till now, is like completely different. So we have just had a massive overhaul, and now then I'm talking like Danny's calling in saying we have to get rid of 3/4 of the squad. It's like we just had this massive overhaul.
I think eventually we're going to have to, we are going to have to replace a large number of the squad. I think when you're looking at where you want the squad to be, I'm very happy with the defensive options that we've got, especially with like looking at Vuskovic coming back into the frame as well next season. I'm very comfortable with the defensive options. I think the midfield options, I think we could do with an addition or two, but I'm fairly comfortable with the likes of Bergvall, Pape Sarr. I think Paulinho has a purpose, but I think ultimately we're going to need to upgrade on him. I think, yeah, some of the midfielders are good. Some of them probably do need to get moved on. The forward line for me as well needs a massive regeneration for me. So I think, yeah, I do think there's some validity to it, but not maybe
don't need any new players,
not as much as maybe he said.
3/4 of the squad's like, all right, chill out.
Again, Kirozai with the super chat saying, "The truth is, once club culture rots, swapping a couple of people won't fix it. Spurs are there now, like in business. You've got to clear out the old guard before the mentality changes." Who are these old guard, though?
They don't have any old guard. They've got two players over 30, Davis and Paulinho, that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know who he's talking about.
So if you're saying Ben Davis is the one that's causing all this rot within
he's the problem. Still blaming Davis.
Brett Lockheed said, rinse and repeat. How can we justify that? Member for 56 months. Big up to you. There is no justifying what happened yesterday. There is no justifying that whatsoever.
No.
Even if the biggest Thomas Frank fan, and I have been, and I am one of his biggest supporters, but there is no justifying what we're seeing right now, and it needs to get a lot better. Tim Anton 2491 saying another problem Frank has is the empty seats. So many tickets are available for home games. The board have always reacted to a fall in revenues.
I mean, that is a problem if in terms of the fact that if the home performances continue to be not just like results-wise bad, but in terms of what we're being served up. If it continues to go that way and fans continue to leave empty seats, that is something they'll naturally react to as well. It's true.
Quado Boateng, member for 43 months, says, give Frank time, but he's playing with too much fear. Our back five and Palhinha is very good. Where's our press? I reckon Ange does better with this back six. So I agree with give Frank time. I agree he's playing with too much fear. I agree about the back five and Palhinha is very good. I agree with where's our press. And I reckon Ange does better with his back six. I don't know.
I think he has done better with the back six when they've been available. I think he has done better.
Yeah. You know what? He might have done, but Frank has only had 12 games.
That's also fair. Well, Frank did Angela right after 10.
He did do all right after 10. Not so much all right after that. KPV with the super chat saying, F Arsenal, F Eze, come on Bayern Munich, please win on Wednesday, please Harry Kane, please score a hat-trick against the scum. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I'd take that.
This time Harry Kane would... we didn't have Harry Kane at the Emirates for his usual penalty, but it's time for Harry Kane to put Arsenal in the mud on Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever it is. But look, let's move on and let's get into player ratings. Vicario, he concedes 4 goals and ends up getting one of the best ratings on the pitch, which is unbelievable.
I have to say the second goal.
5's around, yeah, he gets his arm to it, doesn't he? And it was a bit of a weak arm. It was a hard shot, though.
I would say...
it was a powerful shot.
Unlucky in the sense that should have been offside.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, I know.
Should have been. I don't know why they didn't disallow it. Because I think you get the reason saying, oh, he was never getting to it, but he literally got a hand to it. So clearly it did affect his ability to save it. So I don't understand how that was allowed to stand. Like, he was clearly right in his line of vision. I didn't really get that at all.
Yeah, and then the Man City one last week.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever. So he made a couple of good saves. One from Saka, one from Eze. Stopped Eze getting 4.
Yeah.
Which would be even more embarrassing. But, yeah, he didn't really do great.
Yeah. Destiny Udogie up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 3. I was expecting a lot from Udogie in this game, and I thought it was really poor from him, to be honest. I thought on a number of occasions he tried to play out and barge his way through. Wasn't really working. And I thought Saka gave him a really torrid time down that side, to be honest.
I actually thought he did all right. I thought he was, in the back line, he was one of our better players, to be honest. But
doesn't say much.
No, it doesn't say much. I thought he actually not dealt with Saka. Saka was giving him trouble, but he didn't really allow Saka past him much. It was more like Saka was cutting inside and linking with the other players. That's where the problems came. But I think as well, obviously when a doggy's on the pitch, you expect him to get forward, and he just didn't do that.
Wasn't he a bit too deep? Was it for the first goal?
Way too deep.
He kept him on side, didn't he?
Yeah, it's true. Kept him on side for the first goal.
Yeah. Romero up next. 4s all round for Cuti Romero. I mean, I think with Romero, first of all, that yellow card that he picked up for dissent, I mean, like, what are you doing knowing that you got one more booking and you're out for the next game? So he's suspended for Fulham, I believe.
Which is a massive game, and him missing that.
Yeah, so you need someone to grab this game by the scruff of the neck, to shape his players. He's the captain on the day. And he was trying, but it didn't look like any of the players were responding, to be honest. And I thought it was a bit of a gutless display.
Yeah, and there wasn't any of the Romero getting stuck in, getting involved. Whereas his passing, he had no options. But like when Usually, you say with the centre back, if you don't notice them, they've had a fairly good game, but that's different. Romero. Usually, Romero is very much a noticeable kind of player, and the fact that we didn't notice him on the pitch is telling, I would say.
Van der Ven, 4s all round for Mickey. I thought one of his worst displays of the season. Obviously, he was very deep, didn't have to use his pace to get himself out of any trouble or anything like that. But yeah, I just felt like he succumbed to the pressure, to be honest. I thought first half an hour he was doing all right, but after that, I think they were just getting in behind him a bit too much.
Yeah, I think he was a bit all over the place, slipping, sliding, just wasn't really on it in this game, unfortunately. I think he struggled to know who to pick up because Moreno was like floating around, and then they had midfielders running off him. You had Saka there, you had their fullbacks like making difficult runs, and I think he was a bit like lost.
Yeah. Kevin Danso up next, lasted 45 minutes. He gets 3s all round, and I just saw nothing in Kevin Danso's display to say, you know what, I saw nothing in it, literally. Just under pressure. Was he at fault for the first goal? I can't even remember, to be honest.
Trossard kind of ran off him and Spence.
I thought Trossard was giving him and Spence the run around pretty much all game.
Wasn't a great clearance for the second goal as well. I thought he was really disappointing. On the ball, panicking a lot. There was a moment where...
That is Danso, though, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a moment he was inside the box. He just hits it straight up in the air, like panicking in his own box. Like, he doesn't have composure. Composure is not one of his strengths, is it, Danso? He's not a very composed player, and I think we saw that. And he didn't get too many opportunities for a long throw. He did one, but came to nothing.
Jed Spence, Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 3, and I was one that was advocating for Jed Spence to play at right wing back, and he played basically a fullback in a back 5, to be honest, but no chances to get up the pitch. I thought he could use his physicality to really help us spring on Arsenal and use his pace in the transition, but we never saw that. And I thought defensively, actually, Trossard gave him no ends of problems throughout the game.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be dealing with it a lot better. I actually thought Porro, he came on for like 10 minutes. I guess the game was dead by that point, but I thought he was a lot better than Spence, what he was showing. Didn't get any opportunity.
Game was done, though, when Porro came on.
Yeah, but he still showed a bit of something on the ball. Like, Spence had enough that did nothing. Like, he didn't support the attack. He didn't press Trossard. He got called out for the first goal. Recently he's just not been on good form, has he, Spence?
It felt like it's been since the England call-up. So, I mean, ever since then, I've seen a decline in his performance, and it's worrying. João Palhinha, Sim gives him a 5, I gave him a 6. I thought, out of everyone, he was the one that kind of half knew what it meant to play in a North London derby. At least he was putting himself about and putting some challenges in. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, and he wasn't really showing for the ball for the defence when we were trying to somewhat play it out. Obviously won the ball back really well against Zubimendi for us to score our goal. I thought he was just the best of a very bad bunch.
Yeah, and there was one moment like he took it on the half turn. I was like, oh wow, yeah, we actually have a player who can do that. Like, it was so alien to me. But obviously he won the ball for the goal as well, didn't he? That was good. Like, he did some stuff. I think obviously the big problems for me is on the ball just offers so little. Like, he's not brave at all. He panics on the ball. Didn't really offer much when it comes to receiving it. Off the ball, he did his most, but again, he was covering, seemed to be trying to put out so many fires, and there's only so much he can do.
Rodrigo Bentancur, Sim gives him a 2, I gave him a 3. This guy was literally non-existent on the day, and you expect that kind of South American fight about Bentancur, and there was just no fight, no passion, no anything. I don't remember anything good he did during the game. He just let the game pass him by, was a complete passenger for the whole, however long he was on the pitch for. And yeah, I'm starting to really question Bentancur, because I know he's a good player. I know he's got some really good ability about him, and I know on his day he can be brilliant. But those days just don't come often enough, unfortunately. It's too few and far between now with Bentancur. And like I said, on his day, and we have seen him put in some really top displays this season, but his consistency is a massive problem.
Oh, yeah, it's another terrible, terrible display, anonymous display, on this occasion. Just all at sea. Rice and Zumendi probably didn't have an easier game than they did yesterday. They were just running rings around them. Bentancur was chasing shadows, ended up getting a booking for getting the wrong side of timber. Was nowhere near combative enough. He couldn't get near anyone. He was literally chasing shadows. It was embarrassing at times.
Yeah. Mohamed Kudus, falls all round for Kudus. I mean, literally, we were using Kudus like he was our basically get out of jail free card. We're just trying to give it to him and say, look, off you go. Take on the whole Arsenal team and work your magic. There was a couple of nice touches in there, but nothing really effective or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a mad game plan.
Yeah, every time we got the ball, he was surrounded. His corners, I mean, I only think he had one corner, to be fair, but
one corner we had, I think.
I think he had one free kick as well. His crossing, he only had literally minimal opportunities, but which when he did wasn't great. But again, he literally was asked to be like the best player.
Superman.
Yeah, and you just can't do it, especially against Arsenal. It's always going to be difficult. Tried to get in the ball, but it was too hard for him.
Mm-hmm. Wilson Odobert, 2 from Sim, 3 from me. I think, obviously, we've all been praising Odobert a lot in recent weeks, but in this game, completely isolated. He looked like a boy against men, and unfortunately, the game just swallowed him, to be honest, because I thought he just got so easily dealt with.
Yeah, he was anonymous. Didn't have a touch on the ball until the 25th minute. He was barely involved in the game. Was a complete non-issue for going forward. And as well, I think defensively wasn't helping Udogie enough, in my opinion. I think Timber was getting too much joy there. He was penned backwards, but he wasn't combative enough at all. It was just I think he just folded under pressure a bit, unfortunately.
And Richarlison, the last of the starting 11, 5s all round for Richie. Yeah, look, he was so isolated up top. He was on his own in the opposition half for the majority of the game. We were just trying Hail Mary balls to him pretty much all game. And the few times all he was doing was battling with their centre-backs and conceding fouls. That's pretty much all he was doing, on the floor a lot of the time. Very frustrating. But what are we expecting him to do? Seriously, with the tactics that we've got on display, we're asking Richarlison to do God's work, and
he did it for the goal.
And he did. Yeah, he did. Look, to be fair, that goal was such high quality. To shoot from where he shot it from, to catch Raya off his line was pinpoint. Absolutely pinpoint. An unbelievable ability for him to do that. But apart from that moment, he is just being asked to go up against 2 of the strongest centre-backs in the league. And Cappier obviously is new to the league, but he's still a very, very good physical centre-back. And he's asked to physically challenge them, win the ball back, and basically hold the ball up until some of the other Spurs players decide to go up the other end of the pitch, which never happened. So what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, literally, if he wasn't shooting from the halfway line and scoring, then literally there's no other option for him. So I felt for him. I'm not saying I'm going to sit here and say he had a great game. A lot of people going in for him yesterday.
He showed fight, though.
He did. He showed a lot more fight than anyone else. And obviously, the goal he scored, credit to him. He found a moment of quality, and he scored it. And look, and he's on 5 Premier League goals this season. He's on I think he's got 7 goals and assists this season in 12 games. So this, for me, the concept that he's our main problem, I don't think he is.
Javi Simmons, who came on at half time. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. I thought Javi, he was positive. I thought he was positive when he came on. Don't get me wrong, he didn't have an unbelievable display or anything like that, but at least he came on and looked forward. At least he came on and asked a couple of questions of Arsenal, which he did more from a creative standpoint, which I know he didn't even create anything, but this is mad. He didn't create anything, but he did more of on a creative standpoint than anyone did the whole day. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah, had a couple of shots, didn't he, which were weak efforts, to be fair, but at least he was getting those positions and looking to do something, which is take a shot. Got a few fouls out of Rice, who definitely should have been booked for that challenge. I think that was cynical. He looked to at least take people on. He did find a couple of good moments, but again, there's a couple of moments he gets past a couple of Arsenal players. All of a sudden, the game opens up, but there's just no support for him. There's no one around him. It's like, who's he supposed to pass to? What's he supposed to do? And it ends up nothing happening.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the same for all our attacking players. The same for Xavi, the same for Kudus, same for Richarlison. Like all these players, they get the ball in Arsenal's half, and they're just on their own. Like, what are they supposed to do?
That's the thing, yeah.
Kolo Muani, 4s all round for Kolo. I mean, I didn't even notice him on the pitch, to be honest. I think he came on, 60th minute or something like that.
Yeah, played on the left.
Yeah. He just, he barely touched the ball.
You know what? Whenever I've seen him on the left, I haven't been that impressed at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's few and far between. And again, I feel for Muani because he's been very stop-start his Tottenham career with injuries and that. But yeah, he came on. I don't remember if he even had touch. It just, didn't do much.
Pape Matar Sarr as well came on at a similar time. 4s all round. Added a bit of legs to the midfield, but showed no signs of quality.
Yeah, unfortunately, too little too late anyway by the time he came on to really change things. Yeah, didn't really change it.
All right, now we move on to the manager. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 1. And this...
I gave him a 2.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave him a 1. This was the worst performance I've seen from Spurs at the Emirates, and I've seen some horror shows at the Emirates. To create as little as we did, to set up in the manner of which we did, I think, it really is not acceptable from the manager. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, to go 5 at the back, to play 2 defensive midfielders and still look as open as we did, not retaining any sort of ambition to go forward, resulting to hit and hope Hail Marys up to Richarlison, to hoping that Kudus can take it round their whole team, just expecting a doggy just to bulldoze through their whole team. Like, all Frank has done this game is try and rely on individual quality or just moments of madness where we can just capitalise off an Arsenal mistake, which isn't going to happen. If you're going to play 5 at the back, you can't play 2 in midfield. You can't concede the midfield to Arsenal. They've got such a strong midfield. You can't expect 2 midfielders to gain that midfield battle. And that is exactly what happened. I think if you're going to play 5 at the back, what I said before the game is 3-5-2. Pack the midfield out with 3 players, 3 aggressive players, like we said. I think we said Sarr, Bentancur and Paulinho. That might have been a bit better. At least it gives Arsenal more things to talk about, think about. But the way we went about the game was just completely wrong. You could tell from the first 10 minutes, like, this was going to be an embarrassing day. And by God, was it embarrassing. Conceding 4 to Arsenal on any day is embarrassing, but we could have conceded 5 or 6.
The lack of plan was shocking. The lack of intent was shocking. And you got to say, given how the players came out, I think the players deserve a lot of criticism for how they performed. But you got to say as well, you got to question his ability to motivate these players right now when they're performing like they did with that lack of intensity in the derby. Like I've always said, look, I was looking at Frank and how he talks to his team. He's very much focused on details and these little things, but you need to be able to get into these players and motivate them as well and get that extra bit out of them. And at the moment, he's clearly struggling with that as well. So big question marks with that. Shocking display tactically from him. If that's the best he can come up with when it comes to a plan in a North London derby, then he's got big question marks there. And the problem is, this is not the first time we have seen this from him and from Tottenham this season. So at the moment, big question marks on Thomas Frank, and a lot of fans are starting to question him.
Yeah, it's like you're 2-0 down at half-time after a shit show of a first half. You're thinking, all right, keep it tight. Keep it tight. Don't go 3-0 down within 10 seconds of the second half. Like, how stupid can you be of the same mistakes that they were making in the first half as well? It's just madness. It's absolutely madness to me how you can have Eze so free on the edge of the box on multiple occasions when you've got so many defensive players on the pitch. Mm-hmm. How is there just a sea of space when we've got so many players back?
Doesn't make any sense.
But Frank has got a lot to answer for, and he has got to change things quickly. Otherwise, that'll be that. But that is our player ratings. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding those, and put your ratings in the comment section below as well. And we're going to finish off on reacts, and let's see how the internet did react to this shit show of a North London derby. First up is from H2O MUFC. Do you want to refresh? 4 out of 22 Tottenham's passes into the final third yesterday. I'm surprised we had that many, to be honest.
But look at them. Look what those successful ones were. Just these long passes, somehow finding it, all from inside our own half. How many actually in the Arsenal half?
None.
None successful. But how many even attempted? Like, very little. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Look at that. That is just embarrassing.
It's beyond embarrassing.
Honestly, I generally think most League Two sides could do better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's mad, isn't it?
George says, both times 5 at the back, but both were completely a different story. What's happened since then? On the left, PSG were extremely aggressive on the press for 80 minutes and dominated the best team in Europe at the time. Look at Danso's average position. On the right, Arsenal's a limp attempt at being defensively solid and is in fact probably higher up the pitch than it should be because Arsenal allowed us to have more of the ball after they went 3-0 up.
You can see here the difference. So this was our average position against PSG. Look how high up we are.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Danso's average position is in the PSG half. Same with Paulinho. So much more intent there to go after them. And then you look at the Arsenal one. It's just so meek, defensive. So, as you say, it should have been deeper, really. Udogie and Spence not getting over the halfway line. Kudus as well. Couldn't really get near to Richarlison. It's just shocking.
Yeah. Not acceptable. That's the reality. It's not. Jake Sanders says, Thomas Frank's reign incredibly similar to Nuno's at Tottenham. Beat Man City early. Truly awful defeats to Chelsea and Arsenal. Terrible football. Pragmatic manager. A sub-booed against Manchester United. Fans losing patience. Nuno's ended quickly. Frank's looks to be heading that way. Yeah, like I said before, there are a lot of comparisons and similarities that you can make between the early signs of the early stages of Nuno and now the same amount of games under Frank.
And obviously, he's a manager who comes from overperforming for like a mid-table team as well. Same thing. Yeah, I mean, we were saying, it was weird, isn't it? After the Chelsea game, there were some articles which I didn't agree with. It was like, oh, could Frank be Nuno? I was like, no, it's way too early for that. All of a sudden, a couple of games later, and now we're talking about the very real possibility that could happen.
Yeah. But, like, the complaints that we were having under Nuno was like, we can't get a shot on goal. We can't create chances.
And that's the same thing that's happening at the moment. And as well, when we did win, it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that's happening now.
Yeah, albeit, like, now we do seem to score more goals under Nuno. That's the only difference, really.
Then under, because the 3 wins under Nuno were 1-0 and they were scrappy. At least we scored a few, had more of a plan, but still, the way the trajectory is not good. Like
under Nuno, like even in those Conference League games at home, like we were terrible. You know what I mean? At least like, against Copenhagen, we showed something.
Fair.
John Hotspur 1988 says 3-1 down, our throw-in, their half, and look at the options. Nobody interested in getting involved. He ends up throwing it all the way back to Romero. We eventually lose possession and concede again. A shit show.
Look at that, Everett Paulinho hiding. Where's like Kudus? Like where is he? Not in shot. Like no one just coming towards him and looking for the ball. It's like everyone's just scared and hiding. We've just got a goal back. You know, maybe you get another quick one, all of a sudden it's game on again, and no one's like even interested.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. And that comes, look, the player's got to take responsibility for that for sure.
Yeah. Ed Ball saying Eze's goal was beautiful, but I still don't understand why this isn't offside. The ball came through the middle where 2 Arsenal players were both offside and blocking the keeper's view.
Yeah, I don't get that. I think it's so clearly offside. Like it's like a pretty blatant decision. Like if this was a costly goal, obviously this will be a much more of a talking point. Given how the game went, I don't think we can all complain. Anyone can really complain. But you got to say like that is a blatant offside. He's clearly blocking Vicario's view. He's in an offside position. It clearly affected Vicario's ability to save it as well.
Yeah, it's mad. If I showed you both goals and asked you which one was ruled out and which one was given, and I show you the Liverpool goal against Man City and this one. It's just mad, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Colin Miller says, the fallacy within football which runs right to the top level is equating managerial overperformance with club suitability. Thomas Frank's job at Brentford was tremendous, but his style of play does not translate to the elite level, an environment in which he has no experience. I mean, it's hard to disagree with what we're seeing right now. But that's not to say that he can't turn it around.
It's true. But the thing is, if you actually look at within the Premier League of managers who have made that step up, it's actually really rare that it works out. Like Poch is one example where it did.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's not too many that actually have worked out.
I'm trying to think. Other managers, obviously, Moyes didn't work out.
Like Potter didn't work out.
Potter.
There's a lot of example. I can't remember. But I remember I posted an image. I don't know if I can find it, but it's actually quite rare that it does work out. Most of the time, they can't really get their tactics to a high level. That's usually how it works. I think was it this? Yeah. So like Potter, Nuno to Spurs didn't work out. Moyes, Brendan to Liverpool, kind of as
that worked out
ish.
I mean, he got them fighting for the title where they should have won it.
He did, but he was there for 4 seasons. 3 of them were really bad, and one of them was decent. Hodgson to Liverpool, terrible. Harry Redknapp to Spurs, that's one that worked out.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes to Man City, not really. Sam Allardyce to Newcastle.
But actually, like, it's worked at Spurs more than most, because we've had Pochettino and Redknapp.
Yeah, that's fair. But if you look at like overall, it actually doesn't work out that often.
Yeah. Mr. Black says Thomas Frank has broken Tottenham's record of the lowest XG ever twice this season in games against Chelsea and Arsenal. I'm not going to read the last comment.
So this is a rank. So this is like our worst ever. That's mad. So this is since 2015. We have 392 games since 2015, and this is the rank for what was yesterday.
So.
That's mad.
So, Nuno never got a lower XG than these, man.
Never.
Which is mad, isn't it? Because we never had shots on goal with Nuno.
Not just Nuno. This is a 390th out of 392.
Yeah, but like Nuno was one of the worst of the lot because he got sacked after like 12 games.
The only one that was worse than that was Frank against Chelsea.
Yeah. That's damning, man.
Damning.
XG philosophy 0.02. Richarlison's scores with Tottenham's first shot. It was an incredible goal.
Yeah, fair play to him.
At least someone had a bloody go, you know what I mean?
Like that was... We must be... we have something about scoring Wolvesies and derbies that we lose.
Well, there's Lamella's.
Yeah.
There's that one. What else?
Just those two.
What is it about Spurs and catching David Raya off his line? Pre-season and now this.
Defoe. Remember Defoe in the 5-4?
Oh, the 5-4, yeah, that was a great goal.
We have something, a penchant of scoring great goals in derbies that we end up not winning.
Yeah, you know what pisses me off though? It's like this goal is going to be used in like compilations to get ourselves up for like North London derbies and stuff before games and stuff, like the Lamella one is. It's just like we bloody lost those games.
Apparently Richie posted his goal this morning.
Did he?
On his Instagram. Shameless.
Ramon Vega says, what a shame we cancelled season 3.
Ramon Vega.
Ramon Vega is I think he's a big advocate for Ange. Seriously.
Maybe he should manager.
Ramon. Stick to his banking, I think. Johnny Blaine says, our catalogue of amazing goals and not winning NLDs is amazing.
Saying,
Hotspur Callum says, nah, this is mental. Dissing the most successful Spurs manager of the last 40 years and your predecessor in attempt to get fans back whilst you give our worst performance is so bad. And yeah, I was saying that in the match review. It's like, I don't like that last comment. It was all right up until he made that comment.
Yeah, it's still like trying to... Yeah, he's trying to make excuses. Oh, look how bad... Like, just he's implying, oh, look how bad these players are. Look what I've got to work with. Like, we all know that the team should never be in 17th last season, and the team proved it by winning a trophy. Like they showed, like yeah, we're better than that. They went and won a trophy. Like I'm not having it. I'm not having we're 17, so this is the best we can do.
Simon Yemeni says, I'm sorry, but I can't get behind this way of playing. It feels cowardly and it's boring to watch. I want to feel proud of how my team plays. Sitting deep with no desire to keep the ball or take the game to in our own hands doesn't do that. It just leaves me feeling ashamed. And that was the only feeling to come away from the game yesterday, was ashamed and embarrassed. Literally, that's the only feelings I felt last night.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, there's like, if I understand, like, if your team, if they're building towards a way of playing which you can get behind, then yeah, you can stomach defeats a lot more. But when you're attempting to play like we did yesterday, and like that's the best you can offer, and we lose, like that's not going to be acceptable. Because even if it would have worked out, yeah, it would have been great. Don't get me wrong, if we would have got a point or something. But it's not like something you can say, oh, we can just do that again. That's like a way of play you can get behind. Like and then when you lose, there's literally nothing to cling on to because you didn't even attempt to do anything. Like if you're just new in a job and you're building a project like Frank is trying to do, like you've got to at least try and do things in the way that you think you're going to build towards the future. Don't just do things because you think you might be able to nick a point here. Maybe in this game specifically, but I think in other games especially, like is this the way you're trying to play? Is this like what you're trying to do, or is this like what you're trying to do now just to get points? Because that's never going to lead anywhere.
Yeah, and I've seen much worse Spurs teams put up a lot more of a fight at that stadium, and just at Arsenal away in general. Like, we've seen terrible Spurs teams over the years take on Arsenal and do a much better job than we did yesterday. Much better. Age of Ange says, how do you play 7 defenders and still concede 4? The fixture was 2-1 last season with Archie Gray and Dragoshin starting at centre-back, Basuma as DM, Bergvall in midfield. And yeah, I mean, last season wasn't great at the Emirates, but it was a lot better than it was yesterday.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, at least I think we scored. Yeah, we
went 1-0 up.
Scored yesterday, I guess. But yeah, 1-0 up. We only conceded from like an own goal. But I guess you could also say Arsenal probably not in as good a position as they are now. I think that has to come into it a bit. As much as we don't want to praise Arsenal, you have to say they're such a good team. They
are such a good team. I completely agree with that, but that doesn't account for the lack of fight on the pitch. Like, I've seen Spurs give better fights on the pitch against Arsenal's like undefeated team when we were like, you know, I know we're not doing great in the league and we haven't done for a while, but the team that we had then, I think the squad that we have now is better.
Yeah, well, that was one of the worst squads we ever had.
You know what I mean?
We were generally in a relegation battle back then.
Yeah, so those teams gave bigger fights than we're seeing now. Adam Crufton says, some very sweeping statements being made about Thomas Frank, a little unfair, a mess of a team left by Ange, a poor window, executive turmoil, and key creative players injured, plus everyone else is weird, inconsistent, and they are still 2 points off Champions League positions. I don't know, man. It's just a shit show altogether. And I think, look, the club has not been in a good place for a long time, but Frank needs to be doing a lot better. That's just the cold hard facts. You can't give excuses.
Well, he said there's a comment here on that post. He says, however, he said, in a couple of big derbies, we've set up like a relegation team, desperate for a 0-0 with 0 attacking intent. We are better than that. And then he replied, I genuinely don't think the currently available squad is much better than that.
The currently available squad is a lot better than that. However, the reality is as well, under Ange or under Thomas Frank, we've been embarrassing in these big games. That's just reality.
Well, I would say at least under Ange, we gave it a much more of a fight. Like even again, gave the game at the Lane, we were 3-0 down and we came back and we were much better in that game.
Yeah.
Last season, we lost 1-0 at home, but that was like
don't get me wrong, we were better, but we're still losing every time.
Yeah, that's also true. But I don't think the performances were as embarrassing as what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Even the Chelsea games, like I know we lost, but
we were
much
conceding
better.
4 a game.
Yeah, but we gave much more of a fight.
Either way, I don't want either of them. You know what I mean? It needs to be better than both.
We want to win. I'm just saying, like, I'll take those Chelsea performances any day than what I saw against.
It's true. I would as well. I would take those performances over this as well. But we're clutching at straws here because both of them were not good enough. David Wall saying Arsenal's XG conceded this season. So you see Spurs there on 0.07.
They're calling it 007, James Bond XG.
So Sunderland, Slavia Prague, Burnley, Brighton, Palace, Atletico Madrid, Fulham, West Ham, Olympiacos, Newcastle, Port Vale, Man City, Bilbao, Forest, Liverpool, Leeds and Manchester United all being able to muster up more XG against Arsenal than we did.
That's Angers Forest.
That's Angers Forest, yeah.
And no one, except for Port Vale, who still got more than us, no one had a less than 0.1.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only ones who had 0.0.
Yeah. Disgusting. Mickey Hazard. Is this the real Mickey Hazard?
Is it not?
It must be. 525 is his legacy number. It must be. Tactics are everything. The Tottenham way is to play on the front foot. So even the legends get in the hump.
That's also another element to it, of course, that, you know, we have this, you know, history of that's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear. There are some fans who are, like, obviously, you might be different. You don't really care how well we play attacking football or not, but there will be fans who do care. That's what we want to play up to our history. Today is to do.
That's true. But the reality is, if we go and win something, if we go and win a league title, I know we're a million miles away from it, but let's say we do, playing that way, do you really think these people are going to care?
No, probably not. But it's just another stick to eat the manager with if it goes wrong.
Yeah, that's what it is. But winning is everything. Style of play, you know, obviously we want to win playing with that style of play. But if we win playing with a different style of play, nobody's going to complain.
I get that, but I guess the problem is when you're implementing something early doors, you know it's going to go wrong early on, right? And you're going to have teething problems. It's easier to get by with that when you're trying to do something in a certain way than right now, where it's like, I don't even know what we're trying to build towards. And is it even going to work long term? But right now, it's so hard to watch. It's like, you can't get behind it.
Yeah, it's true. Ben Bowman says City and PSG games gave me a false sense of hope of a good balanced game plan where we'd be aggressive, try and disrupt them and actually have a threat going the other way, whilst also being compact defensively. This setup and game plan is absolutely pathetic from Frank. And look, it's hard to disagree. It really is hard.
And to be like, I remember us saying that after the PSG and City games, you know what, maybe, you know, against these better teams we perform better, but you know what, it just hasn't been the case since then, has it? Let's be honest. Chelsea's been woeful, Arsenal woeful.
Yeah, like when we were having those poor results before this hard run, like, I remember you saying, "Oh, don't worry, we've got these bigger teams. We always perform better in those games." It's been even worse.
Absolutely, it's completely wrong about that. And even to a small extent, like good teams like Villa, Bournemouth, shocking.
Yeah. But like it's so strange because that Man City and those PSG games, they're like genuinely top performances.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, like, tactically got it absolutely spot on. We were aggressive. We were pressing them into mistakes. I mean, everything that we wanted to see in those games we saw. And it's been a shadow of that ever since.
Yeah, it really has.
All right, who's next? Adam Nathan. Ange was obviously not right. But what he did show was how quickly you can transform a team who don't want the ball into one who try and control it at all times. Had its faults, but it was the right approach. Frank has shown how quickly you can undo all of that. It's criminal. I think, like, with Ange compared to Frank, it's just like, at this moment of time, what we're seeing is just two completely polar opposites. And in my opinion, I don't think Ange went about things in the right way, and I don't think Frank's going about things in the right way. I think it needs to be somewhere balanced in the middle.
But he was supposed to be the balanced one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
And I don't understand what's happened.
But all we can say on what we're seeing, right? And Frank is one of the most pragmatic and defensive managers that we've seen. Like, seriously, like, that's not what we thought he was going to be, but that's what he's shown so far. Ange was obviously completely the other way. We need balance in the middle, and that's what I was saying when we hired Frank. I thought that's what it was going to be.
It just hasn't been that at all. But I don't know what's causing that. Is it messaging from him? Is it the players not either buying or understanding what he wants? Like, what is causing such, like, an ability not to get out of our own half in a lot of games? It's
beggars belief, mate.
Because I don't really believe he's that pragmatic. Like, he's as pragmatic as he's been.
Yeah.
But something's causing it.
Yeah. I have no idea what it is, but it needs to change very quickly. BALTHFC saying, We're a defensive side that concede 20 shots a game and create 0.09 XG a game, corners being the reason we're not flirting with relegation. There is nothing to cling on to with this Thomas Frank. He needs to go tonight, and all the momentum from Bilbao has been destroyed as predicted. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a bit over the top, to be honest.
Well, the first bit is right. I mean, maybe not flirting relegation. Well, I mean, you say that. I mean, I say that. I mean, maybe we would be if it wasn't for the corners. I don't know. We're really not creating anything.
Yeah.
What's the other bit?
I was talking about him needing to go tonight.
Yeah. And the only reason no is because I just don't really see a really outstanding candidate to replace him straight away that I'm like, yeah, we need to get him in. Like, if there was one, I'd be open to it, honestly, because I'm not, since the start of the season, I've not been happy with what I'm watching, to be honest.
Yeah. Tetrunk says, thinking about it, I really just want the Lewis family to F off, to be honest. Clean slate, roll the dice. They've been in charge for 2 decades already. Need to be a fundamental change in mindset at the club. Cheap platitudes and throwing Levy under the bus shouldn't suffice to win hearts. Look, there is no reason to start throwing these guys under the bus now. Like, none of these guys, the guys that are running the club now, have been involved over these last 25 years. So I know it's the same name and they're under the same name as ENIC, but the Lewis family, without Joe Lewis, haven't been there for the last 25 years. Charrington hasn't been there for the last 25 years. Vinay hasn't been there for the last 25 years. It's all new at boardroom level. So in my opinion, they need to be given a chance. Have your suspicions and everything, that's fine, because they are under the same name, ENIC, and they're under the same company, and maybe they're going to run things the same way. That's fair enough, and that's a fine kind of argument to have, but we need to give them a chance to show that.
Yeah. I was wondering how quickly it was going to be before people start turning their eye back to ENIC again. And a few fans I was seeing on social media doing it. For me, yeah, I think it's just a bit lazy. They spend quite a bit of money in the summer. Although,
but it's not even them. Like, Levy was still there in the summer.
Although what I would say is, I don't know. There has to be. I think at the moment there have to be some question marks over the process that was decided to hire Frank. Not necessarily sacking Ange, but because I understood that decision as much.
Well, actually, the decision to hire Frank, didn't they say it was a collaborative effort from Vinay, Levy, and Lange?
Yeah.
They sat down with like 100 names or something stupid
and
that
then
they
had a
said.
10-point or whatever it was criteria.
Yeah.
I think there has to be if Frank is going to be out the door quickly, which we don't know at this moment, but if he is, there have to be serious question marks over the decision makers in terms of whose decision was it? Not who, but like how did they come to a decision to hire a manager based on the fact he was going to play good football, and then that's what's being served up? Like, how has that happened? And it's happened not for the first time recently. Like, I don't like. How does that?
It's not the first time, but it's different people. Well, Levy was the same, but Lange and Vinay weren't there when we hired Nuno. You know what I mean? Like, it's different people, but the same things keep happening. But let's just hope Thomas Frank can turn it around. But at this moment in time, if he is going to get sacked early, then yeah, big question marks do have to.
And if Fabio is involved in the hiring of a new coach, do you trust his judgment when it comes to managers? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if Fabio was involved in hiring Frank.
I know, but still, he was very involved in hiring Nuno, and his whole list was horrible. I don't know. I've got doubts about whether he knows a good fit for this club or not.
Yeah. So you want the man who hired Ange?
Wasn't that Lange? Oh, no, Lange came in just after, wasn't he? It was. I think it was. I can't remember who it was.
Anyway, John McKenzie saying, I think the most worrying thing for Spurs fans from the North London derby should be that the fans that Spurs set up to the football that Spurs set up to play in the first half was distinctly outdated. I don't think there are any elite coaches who think that approach would work, especially not against this Arsenal side. And yeah, 100%. We were just like literally just waiting to die. That's all it was.
The thing is, Frank's supposed to be ahead of the game tactically. He's supposed to be like a modern manager who, like, you know, who's like gets ahead of the game in a lot of these things. And to have such an outdated approach is just so surprising.
But I've never seen a Frank team play like that. Like, even like when they've gone away to the Emirates and gone away to these big clubs, I've seen them play like really good stuff on the transition, attacking with purpose and attacking with speed. And being able to put bloody 2 passes together. Like, I've never seen that from a Frank team.
You know, I was saying yesterday, like, you know, I was watching some of the tactics videos from Frank.
He needs to stop with all these tactics videos.
Maybe he's giving away all his secrets.
Seriously, like, he put about 2 or 3 tactics videos before the North London derby. He did one earlier on this season. He's got the ones from Brentford as well. It's just like, stop with these bloody tactics videos and just work on the training pitch. And oh, mate.
I mean, I like them. I like watching them. But I think there's the one thing that really stood out to me was like, he was like, when you get the ball, like, when we're building up, he likes to have multivariate approaches. So he likes to have an option to go in behind. He likes to have an option to come short. Like, he likes to have his players. But I was thinking, like, how many times do we ever find anyone in behind?
Never.
Like, not even just for a goal, just like for a shot.
Never.
I can't remember this whole season. I think we still, by the way, that stat came out a few games ago, and that's still true. We've only had 4 through balls this whole season, and that's still true now. But like, why are we not able to find anyone in behind? We have some, you know, got Porro there. We've got some players who can pass. Like, why are we not able to find anyone in behind? Are we saying our guys can't pass anywhere near as good as the guys at Brentford can?
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? It's absolute madness, and it's 100% true.
We never find anyone in behind.
I don't know what to say anymore, man. This is too painful. It's too painful after what I had to endure yesterday, man. The only positive from yesterday was a full-time whistle, I swear, and I didn't even hear it. So let's end this poll then, and let's see what it's at. So Frank in or out? The poll gives 59% in, 41% out, 800 votes.
Okay, so people still want to give him time.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. Look, there's no real alternative at the moment, so I think.
Well, who came second in the 100 manager 10-point search?
Yeah, gonna have to ask Vinay. Great question.
But look, that is it from us today. We'll be back tomorrow where we have to preview the PSG game. So it ain't getting any easier. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.